evening, and welcome to the Joint Planning and Zoning Board and Board of Commissioners meeting of June the 2nd, 2026. I am Briggs Simmons, the Planning and Zoning Chairman. Prior to this meeting, announcements were posted and notices were sent to all board members, commissioners, staff, and interested parties to participate in this meeting. I will now turn the meeting over to Dr. Ramona Jackson-Jones to introduce and confirm the presence of the commissioners. Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Ramona Jackson-Jones, the Chairwoman of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners. And Board of Commissioners, when I call your name, please acknowledge your presence. District 1, Commissioner Henry Mitchell III. He's not here at this moment. District 2, Commissioner Whitney Kenner-Jones. I love it. And Commissioner Martin W. Raxton, District 3.
Present.
All right. And Vice Chair and District 4, Commissioner Mark Alcaraz.
Present.
All right. We do have an established quorum, Chairman Simmons, and I will yield the floor back to you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman.
Thank you.
Also present, we have members of the Planning and Zoning Board. If you would confirm your presence when I call your name. Frank Payne, District 1, our Vice Chair.
Present.
Brandon Penniman, our at-large member.
Present.
Oric Curry, District 2 Representative.
Present.
Larry Toomey, District 3 Representative.
Present.
Melissa Pope, District 4 Representative.
Present.
And Dr. Chris Small, our Douglas County School System Representative.
Present.
Austin Cronin, our zoning administrator, will now introduce, are you going to introduce him? Oh, okay. Allison Duncan, our manager of planning and zoning, will introduce the county staff and planning and zoning staff present in the meeting. Ms.
Thank
Duncan.
you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight we have with us our Chief of Staff, Tiffany Stewart-Stanley. We have Mary Minter from our legal department. We have Bruce Mercer from our Department of Transportation. We have Travis McDonald from our Development Services. Austin Cronin is our zoning administrator. Melody Glenn is our planner. And as always, I'm grateful for our communications team for helping us out tonight, as well as our Douglas County Sheriff's deputies for being present. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's a reversionary clause that applies to each rezoning, and that is the applicant, agent, or property owner has 24 months to vest the zoning change after the Board of Commissioners grant an approval. As far as tonight's procedure goes, I will conduct the public hearings. Planning and zoning staff will announce each application, followed by a presentation on that application. The applicant or their representative and members of the public in favor of an application will be able to present their information. They will have 2 minutes per person to speak for an allocated time of 15 minutes. Members of the public in opposition to an application will also have their time to speak. They will have 2 minutes per person and an allocated time of 15 minutes. After the opposition completes their input or the time has elapsed, public hearing will be officially closed. At this point, the staff will clarify any points of the zoning case. If the staff is unable to supply the questions, answer the questions, the board will ask the applicant for points of clarification. And this is not a time for the applicant to represent their case. Planning and Zoning Board will then entertain a motion. Our first agenda item tonight is the approval of the minutes of our May 5th, 2026 regular Planning and Zoning and Board of Commissioners meeting. Planning and Zoning members, after reviewing the minutes, are there any comments, questions, or changes that need to be made? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
This is Frank Payne. I recommend approval of the minutes for the May 5th, 2026 meeting.
Oric Curry, second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes of May 5th, 2026, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Madam Chair, the minutes of May 5th, 2026 Planning and Zoning and Board of Commissioners meeting come to you with a recommendation for approval unanimously.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've had the opportunity to review the May 5th, 2026 meeting minutes. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections that need to be made? If not, so with that being said, do we have a motion to approve the minutes from May 5th, 2026? Do we have a
moved.
motion? Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of approval of the minutes for May 5th, 2026, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. And certainly for the record, I want to acknowledge Commissioner Mitchell of District 1 is here. Okay, all right. I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Our first agenda item tonight, Z 2026-31 and S 2026-32. Mr. Cronin, have a report.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Board of Commissioners and Planning and Zoning Board.
Good
So our
evening.
first agenda item is a rezoning from residential low density to residential agricultural and a special use permit to allow dog and cat grooming at 6441 Union Grove Road. The lot is 3.13 acres in Commission District Number 1. Property is 3 acres with a single-family home. Following investigation by Animal Control and Code Enforcement, a cease and desist order was issued for unpermitted pet daycare and grooming as well. The applicant seeking the rezoning to AG for a boarding and grooming facility and a farm stand as well. The lot doesn't meet the minimum acreage requirements for AG, but could be considered for RA. The lot does not meet the minimum acreage requirements for animal boarding, but could be considered for animal grooming if the property is rezoned to the RA category. Property has multiple issues registered with Animal Control, and Animal Services is here to speak to that as well, if you have any questions. Animal Services doesn't recommend approval of the request to operate the grooming facility, and staff has no concerns about the rezoning request, which would allow the farm stand by right. We have a site aerial for y'all, and staff is recommending approval of the rezoning to RA based on the following findings. Number 1, the rezoning request is compatible with the comprehensive plan, character area, rural reserve, and future land use classification of suburban living. Number 2, the rezoning request will not modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the Unified Development Code. And number 3, the rezoning request will not adversely impact the public health, safety, or welfare.
Closer to.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Apologies, I should have modified this. Do you need me to repeat the findings?
Yes, please.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Number 1, the rezoning request is compatible with the comprehensive plan, character area of rural reserve, and future land use classification of suburban living. Number 2, the rezoning request will not modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the Unified Development Code. And number 3, the rezoning request will not adversely impact the public health, safety, and welfare. And yes, and staff recommends denial of the special use permit based upon the following findings. Number 1, the special use permit will not adversely impact public health, safety, or welfare. Would adversely impact public health, safety, or welfare. Number 2, the special use permit would modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the Unified Development Code. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to pass it over to Allison to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Cronin. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone, including the applicant or the applicant's representative, that'd like to speak in favor of this application, please approach the podium. You have 2 minutes per person to speak. If you would state your name and address for the record, and then your 2 minutes start.
Okay, my name is Frank Cloud Jr. I'm at 6371 Union Grove Road, Lithia Springs. Lifetime resident of Douglas County. I live on the particular road where the business is located. Just about all of the houses on that street, it's kind of an anomaly in Lithia Springs, are anywhere from 3 to 10 plus acres. It's a very low impact business. You honestly wouldn't know it was there unless you knew the business was there. So we are in favor of her being able to carry on. And that's all I've got.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? If you would approach the podium. If you'd state your name and address, then in 2 minutes, please.
Yes, good evening. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Retired Tiffany Robinson. My address is 9851 Garden Hill Lane in Douglasville. And I echo the last speaker's sentiment that this property is, due to it being set so far back from the road, you really wouldn't know. In fact, the first time I pulled up to the property, I was wondering if I was in the right place, because it really is not evident from the road that there is any type of business happening on the property. So I just want to express my support for Ms. Duff. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Name and address, and in 2 minutes, please.
Good evening. Yes, my name is Angela O'Neill. I live at 1126 Jocelyn Path in Douglasville.
Okay.
Thank you. I also want to just share my support for the business. I have been a customer of Aileen's and her grooming service for years. And I agree with the previous speakers. You would not know that it was a grooming service unless you went up on the property. She keeps everything organized, clean. She loves animal. And I love supporting small businesses. So I'm asking you all to please consider approving the zoning change for her company. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? If you would approach the podium, sir. The next person can come down and be ready. Name and address, sir.
Hi. My name is Daryl London. I live at 207 Jacob Lane, Douglasville. And I'm a customer of this grooming service. My dogs are customers. And it's very clean. It's a very good business. I think I've been there for about a little over a year. And like everyone else has said, you wouldn't know it was a business. I pass it still because it's so set back from the road. But I really hope they can get the zoning straightened out because I love their service. They're very good with my dogs, and I appreciate everything they do for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next person, please. Name and address in 2 minutes.
Good evening. My name is David Gregory. Live on 2872 Lithia Place, Lithia Springs. And my wife and I discovered her about a year ago. And like everyone else has said, you wouldn't know the business was there unless you were told the business was there. It's obvious she loves animals, and she is the best groomer we found. We wouldn't want to use anyone else, so we hope that this works out. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Name and address, sir, in 2 minutes.
Hi, I am Gage Kirby, and I live in Marietta, Georgia. I'm in favor of her zoning approval, mainly because me and my significant other have been kind of like had bad experiences with groomers, so especially at PetSmart. But her quality of care and her going above and beyond, we wanted to show and give our, faith in her. So, and that's all.
Appreciate your comments, sir. Name and address, sir.
Hello. My name is Matthew Wallace. I live at 4708 Electric Avenue, Mableton. I'm a customer of the service in the facility. I don't know anyone that loves animals or cares about animals any more than Aileen does. I also haven't met more dogs than I have being around Aileen, so that should say more than anything. I haven't seen her ever harm anyone or any animal. Never seen any animals harm anyone on her facility. I don't know. I just hope that you'd grant her what she needs to continue running her small business today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Bernice Flores Arriaga. I live at 5200 St. Charles Place in Douglasville, Georgia. I have been a customer of Eileen's, my dog Frida, for a couple of years now. I had a horrible experience with another groomer in boarding. My dog actually passed away after staying somewhere else, so it was really hard for me to find a new groomer that I trusted fully. And Frida loves going to Eileen, and she looks forward to whenever she goes to a grooming, but most importantly, Eileen now it just seems more than a groomer to me. Over the Christmas holiday, she makes sure Frida gets a little treat, special homemade treat, and I just really hope that you guys will grant her the license to continue her business, because I just couldn't see Frida going anywhere else. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else? Name and address, please.
Aileen Duff, 6441 Union Grove Road, Lithia Springs, Georgia. I'm
Pull that microphone down if you'd like. There.
a little short. I am the applicant. I just, I didn't write anything down. I'm a little nervous. I don't do public stuff like this very well. I just love what I do and the convenience of it to an extent. My children being able to be involved with what I do. My son is 14. I left PetSmart when he was 4, and all my clients came with me. Everybody stayed. I have clients that I've had for 15 years, and you know, my kids get to experience it. My daughter wants to throw the little smock on and put hair color in the dog's hair with me, and you know, if I have to first like drive to a facility to do this, and they don't get to be involved as much, and that's really important to me. I also have a genetic neuropathy that makes health stuff a little difficult sometimes, so the fact of being home there where I'm close to home and take care of everybody. Also, my fiance, husband-to-be, is a disabled veteran and was injured recently at work, so it makes us easier to be able to work as a team together. With my neuropathy, I get weaknesses. He's there. I can call him if I need him to hold up a 200-pound dog for me. But my heart and my soul are in what I do, and I understand that when I moved to my property, I was young. I just had to go somewhere, and I didn't know about all of this stuff with it, and that was just naive of me. And I wish that I would have done it from the beginning, so I didn't have to come to you now with this. But I am just requesting permission to continue. Thank you.
That's great. If you would stand by, I'm sure after the public hearing, we'll have some questions for you.
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Okay, seeing no one moving, I will close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application, you would have 2 minutes per person. Please approach the podium.
My name is Alan Pryor. I live at 6411 Union Grove Road, which is 2 houses down from this residence. And while I don't care if she has her grooming business inside the house, I do oppose the zoning change to rural agricultural because it would invite the possibility of even more dogs being on the premises. You know, she may decide to start raising dogs on the premises or other animals. And on 2 occasions, on one occasion, I had 2 pit bulls from her house come after me. And if I hadn't had a rake that I was using in my yard, they could have done some severe damage to me. Another case, 3 dogs were out after me. And I just oppose the possibility of an expansion of more animals on that property.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one moving, I will close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any questions of Ms. Duff or of staff?
Mr. Brandon Pendermouse, questions for staff.
Ms.
Yes,
Duncan.
sir.
Okay, just for clarity's sake, can you help us out with the concept of grooming compared to boarding, and answer the question, is this special use permit allowing for more animals and an extension of the work to be done, or is it allowing her to continue to do what she's already doing? Could you just give us kind of some clarity on that in layman's terms?
Yeah, sure thing. So the request that we received was for boarding and grooming. Boarding would be taking animals in for overnight stays on the property. Grooming would just be the animals coming for a brief time period for services to be rendered, and then they would go home the same day with their owner. So under our code, boarding requires a minimum of 10 acres, and so that's why that use is not before you this evening for consideration. The property being only 3 acres, it doesn't meet the minimum requirements of the code to operate as a boarding facility. The grooming does not have an acreage requirement. However, the grooming would need the rezoning to residential agricultural. So we do not have dog grooming as a home-based business in the residential low-density district. It would have to be zoned residential agricultural, and the board would have to be inclined to include the special use permit for the dog grooming.
And do we have anything in our code that speaks to the number of dogs that a grooming, in-home grooming facility could have?
We do not have anything that speaks to that specifically in our code. I don't know if animal control has something that could address that, if you would like to hear from animal control on that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Please.
Thank you.
Good evening. So Department of Agriculture actually has jurisdiction over that. They do not have a, per se, say 50 dogs. It is based off of the acreage and the size of the building that they would have to go ahead and get in compliance with Department of Agriculture.
Beautiful, okay. And then that's enough. That's all I need from you. Thank you. And then my final question is for the actual applicant, please.
Before she comes down, Ms. Duncan, while you're up there, residential agricultural, doesn't that require a specific number of acres?
So residential agricultural only requires 1 acre. The rural agricultural, again, the application was submitted for the AG, the rural agricultural zoning, that requires a minimum of 10 acres. So again, the property being only 3 acres, it wouldn't qualify for rezoning to the rural agricultural zoning, but it would qualify for rezoning to the residential agricultural, which would also be the conduit that would be needed to approve the special use permit for grooming if the board were so inclined.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so first off, to have been nervous, you did really well when you spoke.
Thank
so
you.
I want you to just be at peace there. But just wanted to kind of address some of your neighbors' concerns.
Yes, sir.
And then also kind of get your heart. Obviously, you've taken off the boarding side of it and you're just doing the grooming. But just want to kind of hear your heart about how do you regulate the number of dogs that are there at a time to be able to manage and handle it? And then also to your neighbors' concerns of, dogs getting out and stuff like that.
Yes, sir. So the dogs that Mr. Pryor is referring to are my personal dogs. I've never, ever had a client's dog get out, with the exception of maybe like with them, and then we're out there helping chase the dog all over the place, but never out of our care. I have since had paid to have a fence put up around my front yard where my pit bulls go out. They are not aggressive, although when they run up to you, they do seem aggressive. But I have put a fence out, even to my brother who spoke, that they've known his whole life. They come out like bull in a china shop, and then they get up there and they're wagging their tails and they're excited. But I have put a fence up. They can't get out. And I did that because it was causing issues with my neighbors, and I didn't want my neighbors scared or any issues with my dogs, or my dogs put in harm's way with, animal control or something like that because of it. I understand that they're a scary breed to some people. I do get that. So I was trying to be respectful with that. I have the fence put up now.
Great.
And then as far as the amount of dogs go, whatever we can safely groom, we wouldn't even have 50 dogs in there at a time anyway. I'm the owner, and I have a colleague, Dolly, who used to be my manager at PetSmart. She's been grooming for over 2 decades. She's my idol. And, if we can do 6 dogs each, then that's only 12 in there. If we can do 8 dogs each, depending on what the dogs are, then that's, 16 dogs. I mean, it just depends, but we don't have, like 25 dogs a day to each person to groom. It's just whatever we can safely, depending on the size of the dog, the cuts, everything just depends for time-wise.
Okay, and then finally for time side, could you just kind of give us a snapshot of what it looks like as far as parking, or as far as like your guests or clients coming, dropping off dogs? Are they staying and parking and waiting, or are they leaving? Kind of those details.
They usually leave, although I groom Pastor Ken's Shih Tzu, who is the owner of the church right next to us, and he has said it was okay if some clients need to park there. If there's a dog with a heart condition, a health issue, we do offer an express service so that that dog doesn't have to stay. It gets in there, goes on the table, it gets done, and it goes back to its parents for its own safety. And if those type of people, we do usually ask them to go wait at the church, so if there's other people dropping off or picking up, it's not congested. But my driveway is about the length of my yard. It's like over an acre long. So usually they just, they can drive in the grass to get out. It's not,
Gotcha.
it doesn't. And then the other thing is, I know my neighbor right next door to me sometimes gets some clients that pull in there. Our addresses are very similar. So I was hoping that this would be able to put peace to them with that, because I do feel bad for that. I don't want somebody pulling in their driveway randomly, disrupting them either. To maybe, this would allow me to put a little sign down by the end of my driveway so people would know where they're going and everything when they drop off.
Absolutely. That's all my questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any more questions, Planning?
Yes,
and Zoning?
before you-
Don't go away.
Miss-
go away.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Okay.
Good, good. I have dogs myself.
Yes, sir.
and
You
I
need
was
a
just,
groomer?
I was just curious, where do you put your dogs when the customers bring their dogs? Because I know how some dogs can get kind of hyped up if they see other dogs around.
Yes, sir. My dogs stay in the house primarily. My pit bulls are not, like a lot of people say they could never own a pit bull because they're just too high strung. That mine are couch potatoes. They go outside, they do their business, and they come back in, they literally have their own couch, and they're just hanging out on their couch, or they're sitting with one of the kids, but they're inside. My chihuahuas sometimes come to work with me down in the shop, but they have a little kennel underneath my groom area where they stay, so they can't be pestering anybody either.
So you haven't had any problems with your dogs, with some of the customers' dogs, or you said cats too, right?
We do offer, yes, cat grooming,
Cats,
yes.
okay.
And we usually do that either at like 7 in the morning before, we don't want any dogs in the salon because we don't want to scare the cats or anything like that if dogs are barking and stuff like that.
Right.
But they come in carriers, and we take them in the salon in a carrier. We don't touch them outside, open the carrier. We tell the parents when we get inside, we'll assess the coats and stuff, and we'll give you a call and let you know if it needs to be shaved or something like that, just for instance. As far as safety for them so they can't get out. And I have a fence that we actually built out of pallets around my salon, so if I need to take any of my clients' dogs to the bathroom or something, they can just go out in that fence and walk around and do their business, so they can't go free roam all over the yard.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, Planning and Zoning Board?
I have questions for the staff.
Okay. Ms. Duff, if you just kind of stand by.
Yes,
Hi,
ma'am.
Elson. Yes, can you please just confirm that I did hear you say that there was a cease and desist issued, and code enforcement kind of got involved in that, and if animal control's here that can speak on that whole aspect of that and kind of give us a little bit of information about that.
Sure, indeed. This was referred to Planning and Zoning through Code Enforcement Animal Control. I will defer to Director Franskowski to come and speak to the animal control violations, but as a result of the violations that we found on the property and the ongoing violations after we had asked for them to file for the special use permit, Code Enforcement has issued a cease and desist on the grooming operation until such a time as the Board of Commissioners and the Planning and Zoning Board take action on their application, and I will defer for additional information.
Thank you.
Good evening. So animal control has been involved with this address, the Duffs and her future husband for quite some time, starting back in 2022. As you did hear, one of the citizens state that he was chased on his property and almost attacked by their animals. Going back into 2025, animal control was again sent out to that office, or I'm sorry, to that residence due to dogs being loose. At that time, they were also advised that they were illegally running a boarding and grooming facility. They were instructed to go ahead and get with Planning and Zoning, Code Enforcement, Occupational Tax, and Department of Agriculture to get into compliance. Information was given to them on how to go ahead and contact both the county and Department of Agriculture. They had failed to go ahead and contact them at that point. 7 to 2025, they did go ahead and contact Department of Agriculture to set up an inspection for their business license. However, they never followed up, so that case was closed. 3/13 of 2026, we received another complaint regarding practicing without a veterinary license. They're advertising for veterinary medicine during their boarding facility. We went out there again, this time with Department of Agriculture inspector as well, just because this was a GDA violation. Code enforcement was out there with us as well. to give a secondary notice for Department of Agriculture, Planning and Zoning, Code, and Occupational Tax to go ahead and get in compliance with the county. Again, that had not happened. 3/21/2026, dog-on-dog attack has happened, which has led now to the euthanization of one animal, and we have active litigation. So we've had multiple public safety risks, running an animal establishment without a license, both for the county and with the state, and aggressive leash laws with this property.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Any other questions, planning and zoning? Hearing none, thank you very much. I'll turn it over to you, Madam Chairman, for questions from the commissioners.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, do we have any questions for the staff of the applicant?
I do.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Thank you.
You have the
Thank
floor.
So let's start with staff.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so hypothetically, if by chance this potential rezoning passed, you had a couple of conditions.
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you?
Well, of the rezoning? We just had findings.
Findings, I'm
Yes,
sorry,
we're not
yeah.
proposing any conditions
Okay.
for this.
So, but can we reinstate that while I'm looking for my next question here? I'm trying to.
Right, so again, our recommendation on the rezoning is to approve, but again, our recommendation on the special use permit is denial based on the consistent issues that they have had, you know, in terms of animal control and coming into compliance. If you would like to approve and impose conditions on the special use permit, that is certainly something that you can dictate that to us, and we will take that down and include that in the record with the approval.
And if any approval happens by chance, how do we protect any future uses of how many dogs or how that could end up, so we won't end up in an even bigger situation in the event something like that happens?
Sure. I think if this board chooses to approve and would like to condition the number of dogs that are allowed on the property at any given time, that would be an appropriate stipulation to make in the condition.
Got it. Okay. And this is under grooming, from what I'm reading here. This is all about, because the boarding side of it, it's not a part of this request.
Correct, because the property does not have the minimum required acreage to be able to do the boarding operation. They could do the grooming operation with the special use permit approved by the Board of Commissioners, but they do not have the acreage to do boarding on the property.
And is there any particular size of where she's grooming and doing all that? Is that a determining factor in all of this?
So my understanding from code enforcement is that the grooming happens in an accessory building on the property. That is not necessarily a grooming for this, a consideration for the special use permit. I would defer to animal control if there is any size restrictions or any conditions associated with the accessory building. I don't know that code enforcement has made me aware of any substandard conditions with the building, but I would defer to animal control if they have any concerns about that.
If you would, please. Thank you.
So through Department of Agriculture, they're the ones that set the standard as far as the square acreage and things like that. Basically, with Department of Agriculture, they're going to be looking for cleanliness, fire escapes, sanitation, and those kind of issues is what they're looking for.
And it's not a particular size of building?
No.
Okay. So that means you could have a small building and 10 dogs in trying to groom it. Does that matter?
I can't tell you for sure on there just because I can't speak for them.
Right.
I know that for our building, so we have an 18,000 square foot building, we can only have a capacity of 300 animals.
Got it.
So but that's for a shelter license. I can't tell you for grooming.
Got it. And there's no state standard or any sort?
Not the no.
That you know of, okay. And also you mentioned from 2022, 25, 26, a couple of violations, several, that been brought to your attention that you had to address. And then you mentioned about euthanizing an animal based on one of these years, correct?
Correct. So we have active litigation for a dog-on-dog attack right now, and one of the resolutions for one of the suspects is a two-party suspect. The dog was declared vicious and euthanized, and we have the second portion of it, which involves this family, that we're in active litigation as well.
Got it. Thank you. And the applicant, Ms. Duff? Oh, there she is. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You're doing good.
Thank you.
You're doing good. So can you kind of address or speak to some of the unique situations that you encountered or was part of your shelter or your?
Yes, I've never I don't ever remember having anything with code enforcement before. I was interested in starting a rescue one time, and I reached out to the Department of Agriculture, Miss Terry, because I remember speaking to her in the past. And she also made me aware then that in order to start a rescue, I would have to have 10 acres. So I just let that go. But I don't remember having to have any situations with code enforcement before, even when animal control came and she had asked to see the building. I even told her then, I said, ma'am, one of your colleagues from animal control was just here within the last year, and I brought him in here, and he said if there was any issues, I would be hearing from the supervisor, and nobody ever contacted me. And so, you know, but then that's whenever we got the ball rolling with all of this stuff. As far as the dog-on-dog attack, I found a dog on Brownsville Road, standing in the middle of the road, and then he looked a lot like my dog. So I pulled over and I was like, Delilah, you know, what are you doing out here? And it wasn't her. So I called my fiance. He confirmed she was home, but it was the night in like December when it got like 20-something degrees before the winter really hit. And I couldn't leave him there. He ran in the woods. He laid down in the middle of the woods. So I went out with a slip loop and I tried to get him, and I had to carry his big 80-something pound self all the way to my car. I took him home, and he was difficult. We got him scanned for a chip. He didn't have a chip. I posted him on Nextdoor. Nobody claimed him. I can't take a dog to the pound. So I kept him. And he is just now really getting his training down. He has an electric collar now, but it was a lot. He broke all the glass out of my garage windows. He ate the sheetrock by my garage. I mean, he can jump the fence without even touching it. I mean, it was a headache to try, and I spent countless hours training him with his collar, which I also have remote access to. He will come to me now when I say come. It doesn't matter if he's going to leave to chase a squirrel. The day that he got attacked, he was out of the yard. He was not even on our property. His friend Max, a little pit bull, lives across the street, and he would always get out when he'd break out of the garage, and that's where he'd go to play with Max, or Max would come to our house and vice versa. And although we as neighbors are okay with that, I know that's on somebody else's property and that's still not okay. He was over there playing with his friend Max, and actually our closest neighbors on the entire street, their dog got out, and they're like family to us. Their dog got out. He came up there and he messed my dog up really bad. I found my dog made it halfway back up our driveway in a pool of blood, and we raced him to the emergency vet. I didn't even want that dog put down. That's how much I went to that court date for our dog, and I stayed 2 hours after our thing was done begging them, please don't put Charlie down. Just please, he's fixing the fence. Just give him one more chance, because it's not Charlie's fault. Charlie's a dog, and his actions are the responsibility of his owner.
Got it.
And he got euthanized anyway, and it was terrible.
Okay. And so all of the many violations, are you aware, or you're not aware, or you only know about a select few? Because I think I heard almost 7 or 8.
Yes, there's other ones where now my brother, who is one of the people who spoke, is the only person allowed to watch our house if we go out of town, because he's the only person that knows how to take care of the dogs right. But there was times I let other people do that, and those other people were not reliable. They would open the front door and let my 3 pit bulls out to go to the bathroom, and just close the door behind them. And this was before I had the fence, and that's not. But I'm trying to. My question though is,
are you aware of the violations that not only code enforcement but animal control has stated to the board?
Yes, sir. Yes.
You fully aware of those?
Yes.
Got it. And I guess you are taking full ownership of those violations that were stated by animal control?
Yes, sir. The thing about still being in litigation for our dog, we have a trial, because at the hearing, we pled guilty to everything, but we didn't plead guilty to our dog being dangerous and aggressive. We pled not guilty to that, so now we have to go to trial.
Got it. And you've been working, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, you said, I think, 12 years, I think that's...
I've been at my current
15?
property for 8 8 going on 9 years, but I have been grooming, running my salon since I left PetSmart in 2014.
But you've been operating without proper paperwork or as a license. You haven't been operating with license.
Well,
correct?
I do have an LLC, and that's why I got confused when they came and they said, well, you have to have an LLC. I was bawling, and then I was like, I do have an LLC. And they were like, no, you have to have a Douglas County LLC, and I had never heard of that before. But I have an LLC. I have insurance on my business. I have company insurance. I have all of that. I just didn't know the stuff with code enforcement. And the last time, like I'm saying, I don't recall an issue with code enforcement prior to this. The only time code enforcement ever came to my house prior to this was because of a little pile of junk. But I explained to her that we were cleaning out the garage and we were taking that like once a week, and that's why it was sitting there. We kept adding to it and removing it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Allison, one last question. So now that you've been made aware that operating without the proper license and all that good stuff, is the applicant fully aware now of where we should be when it comes to operations of a grooming facility?
Yeah, I mean, so again, I don't know that I can speak for the applicant. That may
Okay.
be a question that is better addressed to the applicant.
Okay.
But Ms. Duff has, submitted all of the required materials that we've needed to present this for the Board of Commissioners, and so it would be up to the Board of Commissioners if you choose to approve the special use permit or not.
Got it. And what's the difference when she's speaking of an LLC, which I know the acronym of what it means, but the LLC versus her license needing to groom?
Sure thing. So the LLC is just creating a separate entity from yourself to act as a corporation for a business. So LLCs tend to be, formed through legal mechanism. A lot of people create their corporation through the state of Georgia, and they think that they're done. So when we say a local business license, that's really an occupational tax certificate, right? So that's
Correct.
just evidence that you have paid your occupational tax in Douglas County for operating a business. In addition to that, there are the requirements through the Department of Agriculture that Director Francikowski has spoken to. And then there is also the requirement for a special use permit for this specific use. So admittedly, there's a number of things going on, but just to clarify, there's not a Douglas County LLC, there is a Douglas County business license or an
Right.
occupational tax certificate.
Okay, all right, thank you. Madam Chair, I yield back. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. Commissioner Kenner Jones, you have the floor.
This question's for the applicant. I just want to make sure I have clarification. It was, your dog has not actually attacked somebody. It was the dog of another neighbor?
Yes, ma'am. He had what looked like, his legs were tore up. You could tell that he was trying to get away. The reason an animal control at the hearing said to the judge that the other dog, Charlie was his name, caused life-threatening damage to Casper. He had to have blood vessels repaired. Casper has, during his trial, he has clients coming to support him too. He's met clients' dogs. He's played with a 90-pound male German Shepherd and rolled over and showed his stomach. He's not aggressive, which is why we stood by him and decided to not plead guilty to that.
And when did you install the fence?
The fence around the front for my personal dogs, that's been at least over a year ago.
And in that year, have you had any animals escape from your property or be present on your neighbors' properties?
Casper will go and visit my neighbors right next door sometimes, but those neighbors really like Casper. They've actually asked if he can go on a little walk right there around the church with him before.
Are you aware when he's out, though? Or?
Yes, because he has this thing, it'll beep me, and then I'm usually running out there to go get him because it alerts me that he's passed by his thing. So I'll usually run out there at that point and see him going over there. And if he was to be able to go on a walk with them, we would have to remove that. You know what I mean? He'd have to. So it alerts me if he passes through.
And how many people are working at the same time?
2.
Always?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any intentions of expanding the number of groomers you have?
Not where we are now. If we were to ever try to, for sake of maybe retiring one day, move into a storefront, then we would consider hiring more groomers, but we are not considering that at this time. It's just us two.
And what's your hours of operation?
They vary. Sometimes we've started at 6 in the morning for some people before. It just depends. And since I live there, I have some clients that, will go to work and then they want to go drive Uber for a little bit afterwards, and I'm home, so it's fine. I'll let them pick up, after dinner or anything like that.
And so the dogs, I assume, are in kennels while they're not being groomed?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
And
Unless they have an express, then they're just the one we do straight through and they don't have to go into a kennel.
Okay. I yield back, Madam Chair. Thank you.
I did want to say that the Department of Agriculture, Ms. Terry, when she came in, she told me the only thing she had to say was to make sure the fire extinguisher, which we did have, was handy, and we have that. We've been working on the shop while we've been waiting for this. All the kennels that she said had a little rust on them, they're all brand new spray painted. And the hair buildup that was around the tub, which she said she knows happens fast when you're using the blow dryer on the dogs and stuff, all that's been, I did everything that Miss Terry said to do for the Department of Agricultural part of it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Commissioner Kenny-Jones. Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
All right, thank you, and this is for staff. So I guess the first question is, try to get an idea of what additional license or what license, occupation license, business license, et cetera, have not been cured yet. As we're looking at this application, I'm thinking, shouldn't that be first before we get to a planning and zoning to talk about rezoning or special use permits? So just share with me your thoughts there.
Certainly. So we actually cannot issue the business license until such a time as the zoning can be signed off on, right? So the first step for approval of a business license is it comes to the Planning and Zoning Department, and they sign off that the use is actually allowed. So because the dog grooming requires the special use permit, they have to come and get the approval for the special use permit before they can, before we can issue the business license for that use. In addition to the Department of Ag regulations, if I say this wrong, I welcome a correction on this, but I feel like the state can issue a license without having the local business license, but generally I think they try not to, right? I think the state tries to abide by whatever the local zoning requirements would be, so the state is most likely going to say you need to get squared away with your local regulations before they can get their state licensure. And again, there's very active communication between our department and animal control to make sure that these businesses that do have animal uses do get all of their correct licenses. It does happen that the state will issue a license without something having local entitlement, at which point we take that list and we reach out to them and we make sure they know that they still need to have a local license to be able to operate.
Okay, and I guess some of that's around the question, since they've been operation in business for 8 years, would ideally this have come forth to planning and zoning 8 years ago for them to get those licenses?
So again, I believe Ms. Duff had indicated that, when the move to the property, that wasn't what was top of mind. Had she been aware of all of these regulations, she indicated earlier in the meeting, perhaps she would have acted differently. We can only respond when we find out, that there's something. We sort of say this is the correct process by which you go and get it entitled. And the final thing I would say is it is a very common thing that people come into our office and they think they have all of their business license because they went to the Secretary of the State and they created a corporation, right? So they think that they're good, and then we say, well, no, on top of that, you need to have your business license, which again, just to clarify, is really a payment of occupational tax, right? So you get an occupational tax certificate for the purposes of raising revenue as opposed to a business license, which we don't tend to use anymore because that gives permission. And so a business license doesn't actually convey any permission to do anything. It's just for the purpose of raising revenue.
Okay, all right, thank you. Let me ask this question too, Allison. When you mentioned the benefits of the rezoning, can you talk about what would be the benefits of rezoning, even though we may not look to approve the special use? What would be the benefits of the rezoning part?
Sure. So part of the application request was also to do a farm stand on the property. So again, a farm stand is not a use that's allowable in the residential low density. It is a use that's allowable by right in the residential agriculture. So if she is wanting to do a farm stand, you would need that residential agricultural approval to be able to do the farm stand. There's no additional entitlement that's required, so long as it's just a true farm stand. So if they're just growing produce on the property and they want to sell it, in the community, there's no additional special use permit or any additional zoning entitlement that's required to do that. So if they get the residential agricultural zoning, they can do the farm stand by right.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to hear from the applicant just in regards to the farm stand. Is that something you're looking to pursue as well, or if you can just share? 'Cause I had not heard that tonight.
Yes, sir. Whenever I went in, I didn't know. I was a mess when I walked into code enforcement that day, and Miss Allison sat me down and she was trying to figure out what type of thing we could apply for to help me. And she mentioned the agricultural, and she said that I could do a little farm stand and sell my eggs or something like that if I could get the candling license through the Department of Agriculture. I only have one hen right now. She's not even making enough eggs for us. I can't keep a plant alive to save my life at this moment because I'm so distracted with trying to save the company. If anything, like my daughter talks about making lemonade. Me and my kids do make lemonade. We make desserts. Like, I know those are things that my clients would think were adorable for my kids. If anything, I would put something up for my kids to sell their lemonade and stuff like that. If people wanted to get a cup of lemonade while they were there dropping off a dog or something, something like that. Just but I would love to be able to have the potential to do a farm stand one day. But right now, this is all that matters to me. Is just saving my passion.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, this next question is for Director Franzikowski. If you could just share I think that you mentioned that currently the business is on C&D.
Is what I'm saying?
On cease and desist.
Yes, it is.
Okay, what are the requirements to come off a cease and desist?
Well, it would have to go ahead and be by the will of the board to go ahead and get this zoning approved. And then for our department, in conjunction with Department of Agriculture, the full licensure. They would need to be approved. That means the inspection. Department of Agriculture did go out there, but they did not do a follow-up inspection. So while they talked to the Department of Agriculture, we're waiting for them to reach out again to set up that follow-up inspection. It was never done. So right now, Department of Agriculture has closed that case. So they're going to have to reapply through Department of Agriculture. And then again, as far as the ongoing violations, that will be up to Judge Dunlap to go ahead and put any restrictions as far as anything else on the property.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, Madam Chair, I have no more questions. I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Braxton. Vice Chairman Alcaraz, you have the floor.
Yeah, and I think this may be for Director Frankowski. Did I hear you mention earlier that there was vet practices going on there and also medications?
Yes, so one of the complaints that brought Department of Agriculture back to the property is we were informed that she had been advertising again for boarding and grooming, and this time when she had updated her website, they were advertising for Apoquel, which is a veterinary medication that you can only get through prescription through vets, and it was being sold in 30-day supplies. And so that is practicing without a license, period, point blank. Department of Agriculture was notified us, and then they did an inspection. She stated that she was not aware that I guess it was her business partner that was controlling the website, therefore taken down.
Okay, all right. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair. I have a question for the applicant. How you doing today?
Okay, how are you doing?
Oh, pretty good. I just had a question regarding, I heard so many good things about the cleanliness of your place, your veterinarian, well, I should say your grooming
Yes,
center.
ma'am.
Do you maintain shot records and things like that, just in case one of the dogs nip at you? Do you have those type of records available? How do you?
Yes, ma'am. We require to see the puppy shots for all puppies under they're under 4 months that don't have their rabies yet, and all rabies vaccines for the dogs 4 months and older.
Okay, so you maintain those records on site per year?
We either have them sent to us via email, or we don't keep copies of them. I'll look at them, I'll write it in with their customer file, like the expiration date.
Okay. And then I suggest, of course, grooming is similar to cosmetology. You have ways of keeping your clippers maintained and all the things, I'm assuming.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we have the little thing you put your blades in to clean all your blades, and the sanitizer stuff for our scissors and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. I have no further questions for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I yield the floor back to you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Madam Chairman, Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion on this. We have 2 items to consider. Let's take up the rezoning, Z 2026-31. Do I have a motion, please?
This is Melissa Polk. I make a motion to approve the request for rezoning from RLD to RA, so agenda item Z2026-31.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving Z 2026-31, rezoning from residential low density to residential agricultural. Please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. All opposed? Thank you. It carries. Madam Chairman, Z 2026-31 comes to you with a recommendation for approval.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve Z 2026-31. And I guess in making this approval, is this the point in time where there needs to be in this approval some other conditions, like potentially the size of the fence or the amount of dogs, or, I mean.
So my recommendation is that you do the conditions on the special use permit, unless there's anything kind of specific to the use of the property, under the residential agricultural. My recommendation would be put the conditions on the special use permit and just approve the zoning as the base zoning.
Okay, we'll do that. So on that note, based off what Allison just stated, in the form of a motion for approval.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Board, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of approval? Approval, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. All right, I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Okay, the next item, Planning and Zoning Board, we need to take up is the special use permit, S 2026-32. Do I have a motion?
This is Brandon Penniman. I'd like to make a motion to approve application S 2026-32 with the conditions. There are conditions, correct? Or
We are not proposing any conditions because staff was making a recommendation of denial. We have jotted down some conditions I can share with you if you would like to hear those.
Yes, I like to hear those, and then I do have a couple of other condition considerations that I like to add if they're not already there.
All right. So again, if the inclination of the board is to approve the request, we are recommending that the special use permit be granted for a period of 12 months, and then it must be returned back to this board for renewal at that time. Any additional code enforcement or animal control violations will be cause for returning it to the board for a show cause hearing at that time. And then the second one is no more than 16 dogs on the property at any given time. This does not include the applicant's own dogs. This is just 16 dogs on the property related to the grooming business. The third condition is that they must obtain all correct licenses and permits for the operation of the business on the property. Fourth condition is we are proposing hours of operation between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And we're proposing those hours of operation 6 days a week. And then there was a question about a size of a fence on the property that I made note of. We don't know specifically if there's a specific size of a fence that would be required. Otherwise, we would just recommend that you put in a condition that the fence needs to be on the property enclosing the grooming business pursuant to the minimum requirements of the Unified Development Code.
Yes, I would like to add that in and to have it at the maximum height that it could be. If it's 8 feet, then they have to get it to the highest height, or 6 feet. I think 8 feet is extra.
So it's 6 foot opaque fence, and then you can do a 2 foot transparent topper in the residential district.
Yeah, I would like to make the requirement that they have to have the max of that, because the dogs jumping over the fence is my biggest struggle.
Okay.
I think that's it that I would like to add to the conditions. So I'd like to make a motion to approve with the conditions that are already stated, while additionally adding a max fencing requirement as well around the entirety of the property. Were there any exits, there should be a fence. Does that make sense?
So quick clarification on that. When you say the entirety of the property, that is a 3-acre property.
Well, I guess maybe around the home then, and I guess that could be in DRC where we can decide like what that really looks like legitimately, where it's not like a burden on them. But I would like for it to be where if a door opens and a dog escapes, the dog cannot get to a neighbor.
Sure. And is that in regard to the business, right? Because I would clarify that really what you're being asked to consider is the special use permit for the business for the dog grooming. So I may suggest that the fence be applied to any area where customers' dogs will be on the property, right?
Yes.
As opposed to like the personal dogs or things of that nature. I get that there was an issue with their personal dogs. My recommendation is to separate that from the zoning issue and let that be handled through whatever the proper channels are through animal control. But I think the issue is if the special use permit is approved, you're allowing a greater number of dogs to be on the property at any given time. That's where you're probably most likely concerned with the restraint of those animals. So I would say any space where the customer's dogs are allowed to be on the property, that is the appropriate place for the fence at the maximum height that is allowed by the Unified Development Code.
Bingo, that'll work for me. Yep, that'll do it.
I believe that's a motion.
Yes. We need
Is
a
that
second.
your motion? Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
I do have discussion. I'd like to discuss directly with the current owner. Just want to really emphasize to you the importance of considering your neighbors. When you open your doors, just being super considerate. I understand dogs have friends, but dogs don't have consciousness to be able to make wise decisions, and that's where you come in. And so by just doing like unaware things, by like opening the door and just letting them dart out, I just would ask that you really, really, really be considerate of that, because the biggest thing is safety and the community and your neighbors and considering your neighbors. I understand you have a great business, and I see your heart and your passion for what you do. But I want to encourage you to get everything in order, because that makes it scary when you talk about animals, when the person who's running the show doesn't seem to have everything in order. So my ask is that you ensure that you put everything in order and that your dogs aren't just, your personal dogs aren't just darting out the house to go see their friends. That
Yes,
needs
sir.
to be controlled.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And I did hear you about the electric collar, and that's great. But I would suggest maybe even having them on leash, not just free rein, letting them just run outside.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, with that being said, I yield back to you, Chairman.
Any other discussion? You may have a seat. Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving S 2026-32 with the conditions that were read into the record, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. All opposed? Thank you very much. Madam Chairman, S 2026-32 comes to you with a recommendation for approval with the 5 conditions that were read into the record.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve S 2026-32 with the said conditions stated by Planning and Zoning to include, and I think I want staff to come to the podium for just 1 second. I don't know if this would be a condition or this would be an addition to, and that is to reassure that she gets into compliance. To reassure, I mean, is that a 12-month, 6 months? I'm just trying to make it up just so we can kind of make sure that, I know this is kind of new to her, but I want to make sure that we get everything in compliance.
Yeah, so again, so the way that I have the first condition granted is written is the SUP is granted for 12 months and must return for renewal at the expiration of 12 months. Any violation during that 12 months will be cause for immediate return of the property to show cause for the Board of Commissioners.
Okay.
And so part of the reason I like 12 months as opposed to 6 months is when you get into kind of our advertising deadlines and things like that, 6 months is.
No, that's good. I missed that part. So that's where I was trying to go to make sure that we work toward trying to get in compliance. That she's trying to get into compliance while at the same time with the fencing and everything else, in addition to what Planning and Zoning stated. So.
Understood.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So with that being said, Madam Chair, I'd like to put that in the form of a motion for approval.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board?
Just so I'm clear, though, I apologize, that with those conditions as stated by planning and zoning, though? Okay, just to make that sure,
yes.
okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Braxton, you have the floor. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Commissioner Mitchell.
Thank you. And I guess my only question is, just from a judicial standpoint, I understand they're still going through the legal review, and there is still a determination to be made. Is there anything that could be overridden that we're proposing tonight from a judicial standpoint? that you
I would
could
defer to
consist of?
Director Franzikowski if she has anything to add, but I feel like the litigation isn't really related to the business, right?
Okay.
It's related to the
personal.
ownership
Okay.
of the dogs. So I don't feel that there's anything necessarily that would impact that. Now, that
Okay.
being said, we work very closely with animal control. If there's something that comes out of that case that we need to make y'all aware of, we bring it right back to this board for a show cause hearing.
Okay, good enough. Thank you. All right, Madam Chair, you have the floor.
Okay, any other remarks, board? Okay, comments? All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor, and certainly we've had discussion. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand for approval. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries for approval. And I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Ms. Duff, we'll wish you the best going forward. Our next agenda item, please.
Yes, sir. Our next agenda item is S 2026-33. This is a request for a special use permit to continue an agricultural seasonal use that was approved in April of last year. This is on Highway 166. It's about 2 acres in Commission District Number 3. The portion of the subject parcel is cleared. There are several accessory structures constructed for the agricultural use approved last year in April. The driveway for the site begins at 3861 Highway 166, which is the property to the east, and you'll see that in the aerial. The original approval was April of last year, approved for 1 year, so that's why the applicant's before y'all once more. The applicant has met with the Development Review Committee. They have an active occupational tax certificate. Expansion of the use from calendar-related agricultural events to year-round agricultural events is the subject of this approval. They want to do pick-your-own-produce, hay rides, corn mazes, and other activities. Staff had initial concerns about the expansion into the Metropolitan River Protection Act corridor, which is a 2,000-foot buffer from the Chattahoochee River. Those concerns haven't changed. The site plan at the time of the 2025 approval hadn't met the DRC-related concerns. Structures were previously constructed without permits. Permits have been issued for the previously constructed structures. Any new structures would require a building permit. The following site plan, which I'll show you in just 1 second, outlines the intent and scale of the proposed use. Additional parking and restroom facilities are a concern to be addressed. So the applicants are intending to use 2 acres of the subject parcel to the north, immediately fronting Highway 166. From the site plan, you can see the driveway emerges from the east on the adjacent property, and they have a pumpkin patch outline and pavilions and a gravel drive. Staff's recommending approval with conditions with the special use permit based upon the following findings. Number 1, the use will not modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the Unified Development Code. Number 2, the use of additional permanent facilities for vehicle parking and restroom facilities were provided would not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare. And number 3, the use as an agriculturally oriented event facility would not adversely affect the intent, purpose, or spirit of the comprehensive plan, insofar as the character of the scenic byway will not be modified with adequate preservation of green space and limited disturbance of the site. Which, I didn't number these correctly. Okay, sorry. The conditions are as follows. Number 1, the applicant shall seek a building permit to install permanent restroom facilities compliant with all relevant codes within 6 months from the date of this ordinance. That would be January 2nd of 2027. If the applicant fails to install these facilities, staff shall bring the approval before the Board of Commissioners for a show cause hearing. Number 2, prior to the expansion of the use, including but not limited to construction of any additional structures, introduction of new impervious surface, or disturbance of any land area, the applicant shall submit to the Development Review Committee for review and consideration of the relevant development standards of the Unified Development Code and any additional concerns as addressed in the departmental agency impact statements provided with this report or requirements as determined by the Development Review Committee. The Douglas County engineer shall have discretion to determine if the expansion of the use at the time of the request will require consultation from the Development Review Committee. Number 3, the applicant shall submit to the building department for any new structures proposed on the property. The applicant shall submit plans in accordance with commercial plan review procedures. Number 4, the use in any capacity, including but not limited to driveways, activity areas, and structures, shall not encroach into the boundaries of the Metropolitan River Protection Act corridor. And that concludes my presentation. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Cronin. you'd have a seat, I will open the public hearing on this matter at this point in time. Anyone, including the applicant, that wishes to speak in favor of this application, please approach the podium. You have 2 minutes per person for a total allocated time of 15 minutes. If you would state your name and address for the record, sir, and in 2 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. and Mr. Chairman. I appreciate y'all's time and the time of the board. My name is Chris Kennington. I live at 5331 Creek Indian Trail, approximately 1/4 mile east of this property. Through this past year when they were open, there was little to no impact on our property. It actually brought people into the area and was really nice. The only thing I would like to see different is I'd like to see them be allowed to be open to Christmas, because I am Santa Claus. Other than that, I really approve. I like it.
Okay, thank you for your comment, sir. Ho, ho, ho. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor, including the applicant or the applicant's representative?
Good evening.
Good evening. You can pull that microphone down.
I'm actually the sister of the applicant, John Lawrence.
Name and address.
Oh, Lisa Lawrence Blacker. I live at 3861 Highway 166, Douglasville. All right, I just wanted to thank you guys for having us out here again. After finishing 2 seasons, we're excited to be able to be talking about our 3rd season. Basically, I'm here on behalf of my family farm, Possum Holler. We are a pumpkin patch and hayride experience. Our goal from the beginning in 2024 has been to build a meaningful agritourism destination that brings families together and connects them with agriculture in a fun and hands-on way. Experiences like ours are becoming increasingly important as fewer families have direct access to the farm life. Possum Holler supports the community in several ways. We help sustain active agricultural use of the land, our pumpkins. We also support local vendors and small businesses and provide seasonal jobs. This past season, we did have a vendor marketplace I'm really proud of. I like to be able to support the local community. We had a lot of folks out there that came with crafts. We had children that did crochet animals and things like that. So it was very nice to be able to get involved and be able to support some of these local small businesses. We also attracted visitors who contribute to the surrounding local economy. At the same time, we take our responsibilities seriously. We have been proactive in managing the traffic and parking, maintaining clean and safe grounds, and being respectful to our neighbors. We are committed to continuing to operate in a way that aligns with county guidelines and community expectations. While we are still building this tradition, the response has been very encouraging, and we are dedicated to growing it thoughtfully and responsibly. We believe Possum Holler represents the positive impact agritourism could have supporting agriculture while creating a safe, family-friendly experience. We respectfully ask you for your support in continuing our permit so we could keep serving Douglas County in this way. And I'd also like to mention that my mother is here. And this is her family property. It is, we're the 5th generation, and my brother, the applicant, John Lawrence, and I decided, timeout?
Time up.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Is the applicant present? If you would approach the podium, please. I have a question for you. If you'd state your name and address.
John Lawrence, 6854 5 Knox Road, Douglasville.
You're great, Mr. Lawrence. You heard the conditions that were read into the record.
Yes.
Are you in agreement with those conditions?
I guess I have to be.
Okay. Thank you very much. If you would stand by, we may have some questions. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Okay, seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing on this. Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any questions of the applicant or of staff? None? Okay, Madam Chairman. I'll throw it over to Board of Commissioners for any questions you folks may have.
Board of Commissioners, you have any questions? Commissioner Braxton, you have the floor.
All right, good evening to the applicant. So thank you for coming up, and I think one of the questions I've had is I've gotten some calls and just some feedback from some of the neighbors in the subdivision not that far from you, just in regards to the traffic. What steps or what are you doing, or what are some of the modifications to help limit any traffic buildup on 166 are you looking to implement or that's being thought of for this upcoming season?
This upcoming season, normally we get the deputies back out. Let's get an off-duty deputy to be out there just to help slow everybody down on 166. And of course, we've had our seasonal event signs out. And of course, we put our cones out just to get anybody in and off the property as quickly as possible.
Okay, so that's been helpful, including the public safety and the
because we have it where they can turn in, it's nice and wide, so we get everybody off as quick as possible. On the exit, it's just a single lane. That way, anybody coming in, we get them off 166 as quick as possible. So.
Okay. All right, and it looks like, is there some clearing activity that's occurring now?
No, we're adding another field.
Okay.
And the contractor basically got a permit for it. As I was clearing out to make another corn maze, basically contractor came to us about storing some dirt for 6 months. So I went back to the county and got a permit, because basically we are a farm, and especially now that I have to build a bathroom. And right now it's going to cost me close to about 30 grand to put a well out there. So basically the dirt's going to be there temporarily, and then we'll turn it back into a field.
Okay, let's turn back into a field.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, thank you very much. This is for Allison, staff, in regards to, thought I saw in here where it mentioned that they had not met DRC concerns. Was that somewhere, a comment that was in the notes here?
In regards to the conditions about having them come back to the Development Review Committee, part of the reason this property ended up in front of us to begin with is they started the use, they didn't get any of the permits, not just their special use permit through zoning, but they didn't get their building permits, they didn't get any of the other kind of entitlements that would normally be required for them to initiate the use. So since that time, they have worked with us, but we want to make sure, my understanding is the applicants are basically asking for you to give them permission to kind of do this without any time limit to come back, right? So the first time they came to you, we said, let's send this for 12 months and see how it goes. And if you do give them permission now to come back without a 2-year or 3 time limit for renewal, we just want to make it clear that they'd still have to go through all of the regular permitting processes for any structures or any grading or anything like that on the property moving forward. So I think that answers your question in regard to the DRC condition that Austin had shared.
Okay, and is that, could those conditions be met, I guess, within another year? If it was the, opinion of the board to say, let's do this again and review it again in 1 year?
If you would like to put a stipulation about have it come back in 12 months or 24 months, that would not be unusual to have that type of condition, on the property. I don't believe that is specifically what the applicants are asking for. I think they would like permission to just go forward and do it. But again, if you would like to put that as an additional condition, that would be a way to keep an eye on some of these issues like the traffic concerns and things like that as the use grows over time.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Any other questions, board? I yield the floor back to you, Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion. Do I have a motion on S 2026-33?
This is Melissa Polk. I'd like to make a motion of approval for agenda item S 2026-33 with the mentioned conditions.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving S 2026-33 with the conditions that were read into the record, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Madam Chairman, S 2026-33 comes to the board with a recommendation unanimously for approval with the conditions.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Yes. Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion for approval for S 2026-33 with the conditions as presented by staff and an additional condition that this will be reviewed again within 24 months.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the approval, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries with an approval. I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Mr. Lawrence, best of luck to you. Next agenda item, please, Mr. Cronin.
Yes, sir. So our next agenda item is S2026-34. This is a request for a special use permit to allow a telecommunications tower off of High Point Road. The lot is 20 acres. This is in Commission District Number 4. The subject property is approximately 19 acres or so. It includes both areas of woods and clearing. The subject property is currently vacant. It's rectangular in shape with greater width than it is deep. The parcel is located on High Point Road, which is rural residential character with large tracts generally and limited infrastructure as well. The applicants are proposing a 195-foot monopine alternative telecommunications tower, and what that means is that it'll look like a tree, essentially. The tower will be set back approximately 261 feet from the right-of-way of High Point Road. The Unified Development Code articulates a preference for telecommunications facilities to be located on public property on non-residential property. In instances where a tower is proposed on residential property, the code has a limit of 100 feet in height and not to exceed that. The height can be increased if approved by the Board of Commissioners through the zoning action. So Douglas County has approximately 60 telecommunications towers of different heights. 190 feet keeps it below a height that triggers additional FAA requirements and regulations. Comparable with similar towers is the height. Coverage maps support the need for additional tower in this area, and we have those coverage maps in this presentation, and the applicant can also speak to those coverage maps. The Federal Telecommunications Act precludes concerns for negative impacts for telecommunications facilities on public health. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office impact statement suggests that additional telecommunications coverage may be beneficial for emergency situations, and the applicant explored options for co-location on existing towers within the county prior. Applicants have submitted line-of-sight studies for the subject property, and those are included in this presentation as well. Staff recommends that the monopole structure rather than monopine structure would be appropriate for the subject parcel. Monopine would be appropriate in instances where the alternative tower structure successfully camouflages the tower, but this tower will be located in an open area. If approved, a 195-foot monopole structure, the tower would be similarly situated to other facilities in the county already. Here's a picture of the site. You can see it's more wide than it is deep. And the applicants are proposing to locate it 261 feet away, approximately, from High Point Road. Staff's included these line-of-sight studies. The applicant can speak to these line-of-sight studies, and we will just continue on our report. The applicants have included the coverage map and coverage gaps exhibits as well that they can speak to. Staff's recommending approval of the special use permit based upon the following findings and conditions as well. The findings: number one, the special use permit request is compatible with the comprehensive plan character area of rural reserve and the future land use map classification of rural places. Number two, the special use permit will not modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the Unified Development Code. And number three, the special use permit request will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare. The conditions being, number one, the tower shall be a monopole and not exceed 199 feet overall, including the monopole, antenna, lighting, lightning rod, and any other appurtenances. Number two, the location and construction of the tower shall be in accordance with all other requirements of the Unified Development Code. Number three, at the time of the DRC review, the applicant shall present an alternative lease area on the subject parcel for the tower location that is further removed from High Point Road. If an alternative lease area cannot be identified, the applicant shall provide documentation as to why the proposed lease area is the only suitable location. The Director of Development Services shall have the final determination as to the location of the lease on the parcel. Number four, a review by a radio frequency engineer that is acceptable to Douglas County shall be provided in accordance with Article 3, Section 343, subsection I, prior to the issuance of a building permit for the tower. That concludes my presentation. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cronin. I'm sure we'll be back to you. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing in favor of this application. If you'd like to speak in favor, please approach the podium. You have 2 minutes per person for a total allocated time of 15 minutes. If you'd state your name and address for the record, sir.
Sorry about that. Yes, my name is Patton Hahn. My address is 1901 6th Avenue North, Birmingham, Alabama. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Baker Donaldson representing the applicant. As your staff noted, I mean, our application meets all the requirements of your ordinance. We meet all setbacks. We meet everything. We're acceptable of the conditions, and they've recommended approval. We're acceptable of all the conditions that are recommended except for number 3. And that there's a couple of problems we have with that. The way that is written is it basically allows your Director of Development Services to say where the tower will go on this property. We have a lease. That lease is for a very specific place on the property. My client doesn't have the right to locate the tower anywhere else on the property it wants. Two other things. As a practical matter, moving this tower further, if we move this tower further west, we would have a greater impact on residential properties in the area. This is located more on the east side of the parcel to get away from the residential properties that are on the west side. Second, as your staff noted, this parcel is wider than it is deep, and moving the tower back is not going to materially impact any aesthetic impact of this tower. So if we ask that you approve it, we would ask that you strike condition 3. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, if you would stand by, I'm sure we'll have questions, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application, please approach the podium. You also have 2 minutes per person for a total allocated time of 15 minutes. State your name and address for the record in 2 minutes.
I'm James Allen. I live at 8920 High Point, which happens to be the address of this tower. It's not the actual address of this tower. I don't know why that's on this. It's very confusing. Also, it's 300 feet from my front door, and it's a 200-foot tower in a very open area. It's just going to kill the property value. People are concerned with the health risks of being that close to a tower. And I'm concerned also, because we need a tower in that area, but I'm concerned that we're going to be in a dead spot. Those antennas, they don't point down, they point out. And I don't believe it's going to help us one bit as far as cell phone service. And that's my concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? State your name and address in 2 minutes, sir.
Yes, sir. My name is Ricky Varnum. I live at 8936 High Point Road, and that cell tower will more likely be almost right in front of my driveway. And I don't want to get up every day and drive out and have to look at a 200-foot cell tower. And also, I feel like it's decreasing the property value. And I was hoping I could leave that to my kids someday, and their inheritance. But I oppose it. I don't want to look at it. And I've seen these things, they say it looks like a tree. You don't put something like that out in the open field and make it look like a tree. Now, if they had some 100-foot trees out there, it might make a difference. But it's bare land, and it's been that way all these years. I've been here for 30-something years. And I just don't want to see it. I'm opposed to it.
Thank you very much for your comments, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition?
Hello, my name is Miriam Dixon. I'm at 1491 Reagan Road and 1501 Reagan Road. And so right now, it took us 4 years to build our house, and it's almost built, and they want to put it right behind me because we bordered where they want to put it. And like you saw on the drawing, it's short. So it's going to be right there. There's no way that I'm going to look out the door and not see it right there. And as we building and developing that land for our family compound, it's directly affecting us, you know. And not that I'm opposed to a tower, but on our land we have is 47 acres and it's already a tree conservation. It's plenty places that we can give them to be able to use that would already be able to blend in with the trees that we have to preserve anyway. And there's no, on Reagan Road, there's no houses right in front of it to interfere. On High Point, it's all residential, and they're already using it for commercial already, renting it out to business. So for us, It's a big, big, big to-do because it's right behind us, you know? And there's no way for us to get past it because we right here, we built our house right here, and now you want to put it right here. That's crazy. Thank you.
Thank you very
And we
much.
also, we tried to reach out to them early on. They didn't reach back to us because we can give them opposing places that they can put it on the land where we blend right in. 195 feet is high. There's no way you're going to camouflage that, especially on a public street. There's no way.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Name and address in 2 minutes.
Neil Day, 9190 High Point Road. Thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to address this meeting. I live about 3/4 of a mile down the road from this, so I'm not as bad off as these people looking at it every morning, but I am concerned, as has been spoken about, health concerns. I'm concerned about property valuation. Like I said, it's a residential area. There's quite a few houses right across the road from it. And one thing I've not heard mentioned is the fact that Earl Small Airport is very close to this off of Stockmar Road, and I wonder how that fits in with FAA regulations, because there are quite a few small aircraft flying around this area. So I'd be concerned about that as well. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. We appreciate it. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing in opposition. Public hearing totally. Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion. Do you have any questions of staff or the applicant?
This is Melissa Polk. I have a question of the applicant, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. So my question to you is that you kind of heard, the residents whom are living around there, and even one resident suggested, an alternative spot for that. And so is an alternative location something that you're in conversation for with your client? And also, can you please clarify, you said the land that you're going to place the tower on, that land you do not own and you're leasing the land, or can you clarify that for me?
Let me ask you to answer that question first. We lease land from landowners. 95% of all cell towers are built on leased land. Cell tower companies almost never buy land because they don't need whole parcels. They just need agreements to use small parcels. This is a long-term lease. On the second question, I believe how we got to that particular site. So the way cell companies build towers is companies like Verizon or AT&T go to a company and say, we need a cell tower in a very specific area. They're usually a mile circle around. And because that's where we need the coverage, and there's propagation maps we can show you. So they have to look for areas in that coverage. I don't know the circumstances of reaching out to the woman who spoke about that. They send out notices, and they respond to the people who do it, and they look at their property. Sometimes there's wetlands issues, sometimes the property's too low, sometimes one property's higher than another. But ultimately, it comes down to where you can get an agreement with a willing landlord to lease property. And once you've done that, then you begin to move other processes, including the process we're here on tonight. That's how we reached this parcel. We're not like the power company or the road company or the telephone or the telephone line. We can't put these exactly where we want. And I will say this, when we consider another alternative site, you're going to get the same issue. The people at that alternative site are going to, around that alternative site are going to say, we don't want it near them. That's the issue. We deal with this issue all the time.
So with you noting that you deal with the issue quite frequently with placing those, and you have residential concerns, right? And I mean, I'm sure you thinking your home and 300 feet outside your door is this tower, right? So you have these concerns and they're valid. Have you all, as a company or a representation of the company or the owner, sat down with the residents around there, had a conversation with them?
What we do, your ordinance is our roadmap for how we proceed. We look for properties that are, not only do we need a willing landowner, we need a property that is zonable. We don't have community meetings for every single site we do. A lot of ordinances require community meetings before we do that. We had a meeting with many of the residents who are here tonight. I forget when the date of it was, to talk to them about their concerns and how we got to where we are.
So I think that just, it's important to know that no one's opposed to knowing that we need, like, we need a tower, like that needs to be.
Everyone.
We understand that,
Everyone
right?
that was at that meeting.
Right.
Said, we don't want it here, but we definitely know that we need a tower coverage.
Right. And I just want to make sure that, you as a representative of this company is, has the ability to take a moment and step back and think about what you're asking the residents that you're going to place this in front of.
Yes,
What that means for their home. The young lady's just building her home, and then you have other persons who've been living there for many years. And so the concerns are very valid, and that's our job here, is to make sure that those concerns are heard and understood. So I just want you as a client representative, right, that your client understands, the person who owns the property understands what he's, allowing to happen. So that's just, we're not denying that the coverage is needed, the tower is needed. We're just concerned a little bit about the residents' value.
I don't try to tell anyone that their concerns are not valid or are legitimately held. I may factually disagree with some of the contentions that are made about property values and certainly about health effects. I'm not going to tell them that they shouldn't have the concerns that they have.
And the point comes when we're not willing to remove condition 3, where does that put you and your client?
Well, then we will try to fulfill condition 3 in the text of condition 3, which says we need to see if we can move it back on the property, which is what it says, and then we will submit to the Director of Development Services, and it says he has the final determination. We certainly, if he says, I'm not going to let you put it anywhere on the property, I'd certainly tell my client to consider their rights and perhaps take action to protect their rights.
Understood. I have no further questions.
Any other questions, Planning and Zoning Board?
Yes, I have a question to the applicant. I think I overheard one of the residents saying that the tower is on his address, is going to be built at his address. And now, how can that be done without notifying him?
We're not going to put it on his property. I don't know if that's an issue with an E911 address error or not. I'm not sure how it came up that it's what is his address.
Right.
The parcel in the plans is the property that's going to be on, and he does not own that.
Okay, all right. I was just concerned about that when he mentioned that.
When you construct a cell tower, immediately before you do it, you have to get an E911 address, and when they issue those, I frequently see that there are errors in them. I'm not sure how 8960 got on those plans.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions, Planning and Zoning Board? I have a question for Ms. Duncan, or maybe the engineer.
Yes, sir.
As far as item number 3 goes, what if we remove condition number 3? How does that affect?
Sure. So again, I hear the concerns from the applicant. Staff would be amenable to a clarification to that basically says the director shall have final determination or shall return it back to the Board of Commissioners, right? So I think all we were attempting to do there is recognize the concerns that we had heard at the community information meeting, right? So going back to the what Austin had shared in terms of the actual site plan here, the property is wide, right? It's not deep. It's very wide at the road. So there's not a place that you can put the tower on this property where frankly it's not going to be visible. So the line of sight studies that were included in your staff report, they underscore the same thing. The tower is going to be visible, on the property. I think that the intent of condition number 3 was just to say, hey, let's see if the board is inclined to approve the tower in this location. Let's see if there's something that can be worked out. The director is just to have one point person that has sort of the final say before it comes back to the Board of Commissioners. So I think that that's all we were trying to do was say, let's see if we can work on this placement issue. Because again, as you can see from the information submitted by the applicant, it is going to be very visible in this location. The other consideration potentially, and I would defer to the applicant if this is a possibility, but if you wanted to table this till the next meeting and have us to continue to work with adjacent property owners or understand the site selection a little bit better, we would certainly be willing to do that. As we had identified in our staff analysis, this is an area that is rural residential in nature, right? So you have a lot of big acreage tracts. in this area. And I think that gives a lot of opportunity, but it also makes situations like what you see on the screen here a possibility where, because of just the place that it is selected, there's just really not much we can do to make it not look like a tower, even if they're proposing a monopine, which again, staff recommendation is perhaps a monopole that clearly looks like a tower would be preferable to whatever we're trying to accomplish here. So that being said, it's a tough property in terms of the visibility in this area, and if it is the will of the board to have us continue to work with the applicant to try to find a suitable location in proximity, but not something that is this directly visible on the right-of-way, we would certainly take that as a direction if you would like to defer this to a later date.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the comments. Any other questions, Planning and Zoning Board? Hearing none, Madam Chairman, I'll throw it to the Board of Commissioners for questions y'all may have.
Okay, do we have any questions, Board of Commissioners? Vice Chair, you have the floor.
Yeah, we'll just go ahead and start with the applicant. So, did you say you got that address from 911, or was that from our GIS system?
I'm not sure. It's frequently their E911. It is an error if that's his address. I mean, we're not on his parcel.
Yeah, no, that's fine, that's fine. Let me ask you, did you consider, because we got we have towers in that area. Did your client consider we have space available on those towers, leasing part of those spaces on our towers?
Do you mean the county?
Yes.
Yes, we did, and those towers are too far away. I think the closest county tower is 6 miles away from this location.
Mhm.
We spoke with the county about those. They are too far away. This tower has to be located about within a half mile of any direction of where it's currently proposed.
Okay, and just explain to me.
And by the way, we're required to consult with the county, and we absolutely did.
Okay, just explain to me how you came about this particular location with it not being a property being wider than it is in depth. So it's going to be up close to that road. So what made you select that property?
We're well more than the lit height of the tower away from the property line, and well more than the height of the tower away from the roadway.
Okay.
It's very, I mean, we meet the setbacks of your ordinance.
No, just understood. I'm just asking why that one particular property, because I'm sure there's a lot of property through that area, and some of it goes very deep back off of High Point Road. So I was just curious as to why you would get one that's much closer to High Point Road, towards the road frontage, than to pick one that's, a little bit more rectangular, more depth than wide.
I think my client I looked at it and said, this parcel is fine for a cell tower. It's much larger than a lot of parcels where we put cell towers. And again, your ordinance didn't require us to move it away from that. And this is a parcel where we had a willing landowner. As I understand it, this property's been vacant for a long time.
Okay. And at your town hall meeting, did you have any positive feedback in regards to that cell tower being in that location?
No.
Okay. Okay. I yield back.
Well, the only positive is that we had a near unanimous consensus that they need better cell coverage in this area.
Okay. All right. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Vice Chair. Commissioner Kenna Jones, you have the floor.
Not necessarily a question. I just want to make it clear for the public who's here and for members who may be watching it at home, just because I don't want people to get stirred into a frenzy. 911 does not do addressing for the county. That's through GIS, so I don't want any residents to be concerned that 911 doesn't have the most up-to-date and accurate address information for all of our county residents. And I don't think that that was intentional, but I just don't want people thinking that we don't have proper information.
Certainly not my intent, Commissioner, and I apologize if I said anything which indicated otherwise.
Okay. Any other questions, Board? Could I have Allison to the podium, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Allison, I believe your recommendation is very advantageous regarding maybe looking at a different another spot. You said you would entertain that. It would be
certainly. Again, if it is the will of the board to defer this to another meeting, and we can continue to work with the applicant to understand why this property specifically. We can also get further clarification on the addressing. I don't want to speak out of turn, but that may have been a staff typo if the application indicated across the street from that address. So I don't have the application in front of me here, but that may be where the confusion came in, and so I apologize also if we needed to clarify that. But again, if it's the will of the board to defer this and let us to continue to work with this applicant to see what would be potential solutions for addressing the need, we're certainly willing to do that. Again, we are looking at a number of things with this tower. For the sake of full disclosure, if you read my staff report, we haven't had a tower application since 2021, and I wasn't entirely certain how this would be received in this area. On one hand, you know, the application does include the coverage maps, right? And so if you look at kind of what we have here, this is what we're looking at, you know, I think without the coverage, right? And so this is how much it improves with the coverage in that area.
Right.
So we do at the staff level recognize that cell towers provide opportunities for communication, for education, for entertainment, and then as stated by our sheriff's department, you know, the need for emergency services, right? The ability to, you know, in an emergency to be able to quickly access the services you need through your cell phone. So we're recognizing that cell phones are increasingly a part of what we do day in and day out for everyday life. That being said, we hear the concerns of the adjacent neighbors. We have tried through our conditions to see if there's a way that we could work that out. I take the feedback that we maybe don't have the conditions just right. So again, would recommend if you want to defer this, we would certainly continue to work with the applicant. If it is determined that this is not the suitable location and it's the decision of the board to deny this location, again, we would still continue to work with the applicant to see if there's another potential solution in this area.
Okay, thank you. I just, at this particular time, I'm on board with everything you're saying regarding education, bandwidth, all the things that are important for communication efforts. But it sounds like we have some options, some additional options. If you just said, this is it, I'm painted in a corner and that's all I have to discuss at this time with the board, I would be open. But it sounds like you have an opportunity to explore
we always have
even more.
options. Right,
Yeah.
we will certainly follow the direction of the board, but in planning and zoning, we do always have options.
Okay,
Yes,
and certainly it's the will of this board, but that's just my recommendation. I'm just certainly want to take advantage of a cell tower in that area. I could imagine what it'll do for a cell phone when you drop every time you move, but of course it may just, if we have options, I like options.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any, Vice Chair, it's your district. I don't want to certainly.
You're fine, that's fine.
Okay, you okay with that? Okay. I'll yield the floor back to you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, I'd like to make a motion.
All right.
To defer this until our July the 7th, 2026 meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Spread up here, I got quick discussion. I think it is wise that we defer so that the applicant doesn't have to put in a new application fee. But my statement to you as a representative of this company is to encourage them to make a company standard that no matter what the county requires, that you always meet with the people. And I understand that your business is one of those businesses where it's like, nobody wants it. But if you meet with the people, then you may find other options with 46 acres right next to where you need it, if you consider people. So that's my ask, that you would take that specific sentiment from this board back to your company to tell them to consider people, and it might work in their favor. That's it. I yield.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any other discussion? Calling for a vote. All in favor of deferring this till July 7th, 2026. That would be S 2026-34. Please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. I'll vote. That's unanimous. Madam Chairman, S 2026-34 comes to the board with a recommendation to defer till the July 7th Planning and Zoning Board of Commissioners meeting.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to defer S 2026-34 to the July 7th BOC Planning and Zoning meeting.
Okay. Do we have a second? Second. Okay, we have a motion in 2 seconds. We have a motion and second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and second. All in favor of deferral at this time until July 7th, 2026. Please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. Okay, thank you. I yield the floor back to you, Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. We'll see you in July. Thank you. Mr. Cronin, our next item, please, S 2026-35.
Yes, sir. S 2026-35. This is a special use permit to allow a short-term rental at 2725 Brant Place in Lithia Springs. The lot is 1.88 acres. This is in, oh, yes, sir.
Please withhold the conversation until you get outside. We have other business.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cronin, go ahead.
Okay, yes, sir. So this is a request for a special use permit to allow short-term rental at 2725 Brant Place. The lot is 1.88 acres. This is in Commission District Number 2. The parcel includes a 1,200 square foot heated single-family detached dwelling unit, 3 bedrooms, built in 1999. They want to use the existing single-family home as a short-term rental. Proposed special use doesn't change the principal use of the property as single-family detached, and the applicant is not proposing additional changes to the exterior or interior at this time. The site aerial shows presence of significant floodplain, but the house is already constructed. Staff's recommending approval of the special use permit based upon the following findings. Number 1, the proposed special use permit will not modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the comprehensive plan. Number 2, the proposed special use would not adversely affect the public health, safety, and welfare. And that concludes the presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Cronin. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, please approach the podium. You have 2 minutes per person for allocated time of 15 minutes. If you would state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Jenica Villanueva, and my address is 2712 Brant Place, Lithia Springs, Georgia. I just want to start by saying we are the applicants for this. This is my dad, Jose Luis Villanueva, and we just want to state that our goal for this short-term rental is to provide comfortable lodging for people coming to visit Douglas County or the surrounding areas for events or anything that they may be doing here, such as visiting family or whatever. And we also want to highlight that we live directly next door to this property, so we want to make sure that we are always having responsible management as well, overseeing whatever's going on over there. And we also do intend to implement strict guidelines and rules for people who do plan on renting out our short-term rental. Do you have anything?
Okay, thank you very much.
My name is Jose. I've been traveling a lot, and I always do short rentals. So I decided to do it myself and make sure I put strict rules to customers or people who wants to do it for me.
Okay, thank you very much. If y'all would stand by, I'm sure we might have some questions shortly.
Sure.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition, please approach the podium. No one moving. I will close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any questions of the applicant or of staff?
Well, Craig, got a question for the applicant.
If you would come back to the podium.
Yes, sir.
One question I have you stayed in this property before?
I didn't stay in my property, but it's next to my house. I use it for parking my cars.
You use it for parking your cars?
Yes, but I never stay overnight now.
Okay, so that's going to be a place where they're going to do the short-term rentals in that property?
Yes.
Okay. Is that property, is it a HOA community or no HOA?
No, it's not.
What about, so what are you going to use it for? Airbnb, VRBO?
Exactly, yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Those apps.
What about security and lighting?
We have plenty of light over there, and it's a street light outside exactly, and then the house is it's a lot of light around there.
And we do plan on implementing I don't know if you guys stayed in Airbnbs, but they have smart lock technology where not anybody can enter the home. It's a special code for guests. And
Could you speak directly in the mic? Yeah.
And we do know that we want to have cameras outside of the property and not inside, of course, as rules and stuff, and in the backyard. And also, since we live next door, we'll be able to see what's going on over there at all times.
Okay. So how many, what about parking?
We do want to have a strict 2-car limit, just in case it's 2 families. I know that the the rules of the short-term rental is 2 people per bedroom, and since this is a 3-bedroom home, we do have a maximum guest of 6, so if it's like a family of 3 and another family of 3, you know, they could at least have 2 cars.
What about parties?
Oh, no, we will not allow any events or parties to happen on this property.
Does it have a pool?
No, there's no pool.
I yield.
Any other questions, Planning and Zoning Board? No question? Madam Chairman, I'll throw it to the Board of Commissioners for questions you folks may have.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, do we have any questions at this time? Okay, I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you very much. Y'all have a seat.
Thank you.
Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion. Do I have a motion on S 2026-35?
This is Frank Payne. I recommend approval of S 2026-35, a request for a special use permit to allow short-term rental located at 2725 Bratton Place, Lithia Springs, 30122.
Or Curry, second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving S 2026-35, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Madam Chairman, S 2026-35 comes to the board with a unanimous recommendation for approval.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve agenda item S 2026-35.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much. Mr. Villanova, good luck to you. Next agenda item, please, S 2026-46.
Yes, sir. This is, Z 2026-46. This is a request for rezoning from general commercial to light industrial to continue a previously permitted manufacturing operation at 1470 Dale Court. The lot is 3.15 acres, give or take, and this is in Commission District Number 2. So a 50,190 square foot structure built in 1987 is sited. The structure has 6 loading bays which face Dale Court, and the building was built with office and warehousing space. No occupational tax certification is active for the property at this time. The applicant's requesting to rezone the property to the light industrial to continue a manufacturing operation that had operated on the property from at least 2015 under a certain NAICS code for manufacturing. The occupational tax certification was not renewed from the time of expiration within the period of 6 months, which prompted the coming before both boards for review and approval. So the property would have to be rezoned. Property is located within a platted industrial park. The previous manufacturing use was active from at least 2015. The existing uses along Dale Court seem to be contractor-oriented or warehouse-oriented uses. The conditioning of the use may be appropriate to limit uses permitted on this site so as not to encourage wholesale transition of Dale Court to light industrial zoning, but at least the active uses surrounding do seem industrial or heavier commercial in character. We've included a site aerial here to show the building. Staff's recommending approval with conditions of the rezoning based upon the following findings. Number 1, the use will not modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the comprehensive plan. Number 2, the use will not introduce a use dissimilar to the current uses along Dale Court. Number 3, the use will not adversely affect public health, safety, or welfare. Staff's proposing the following conditions. Number 1, the applicant shall submit to the Development Review Committee for review and consideration of the development standards of the Unified Development Code and the agency impact statement submitted as part of this staff report dated June 2nd, 2026. The applicant shall also address any parking, landscaping, and stormwater concerns to be discussed at the Development Review Committee. Number 2, there shall be no parking in front of the loading and unloading bays. Adequate parking shall be delineated on a site plan submitted to the Development Review Committee for review and consideration, and it shall be the determination of the Development Review Committee if additional permits are required for the construction of the additional parking spaces. Number 3, outdoor storage shall not be permitted unless otherwise authorized through a special use permit. And that concludes my recommendation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cronin. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this rezoning proposal, please approach the podium. You have 2 minutes per person for an allocated time of 15 minutes. State your name and address for the record, sir.
My name is Art Carter, 57 Telfair Court, Ackworth, Georgia. Good evening. We're a small manufacturing company. and we're trying to have the building rezoned so that we can come back in compliance and continue operations.
Okay, is that it?
That's it. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Carter, if you'd stand by, I'm sure we'll have some questions. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? I'll close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application? No one moving. I will close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any questions of Mr. Carter or of staff? Hearing none, Madam Chairman, I'll throw it to the Board of Commissioners for any questions you folks may have.
Board of Commissioners, you have any questions at this time? Commissioner Kenner Jones, you have the floor.
This is for planning and zoning. In the conditions, because I'm assuming that the code must have changed in between the time that their permit expired and when it got renewed, is there any reason that we need to add a condition that says that this rezoning is just for the current owner, like if they sell, they need to come back? Or is it still going to be compatible with what's in that area?
Interesting question, because we've had this conversation internally. I'm like, see, let me, wait, I think I'm going the wrong way. Okay. There's a number of businesses that are in this area. You can kind of see it's on this little cul-de-sac at Dale Court that all have either general commercial or heavy commercial zoning classifications. But it is largely being used for industrial purposes out there. So it's hard for me to kind of speculate over the years how things came to be established there in a zoning classification that would not necessarily support that. That being said, this applicant has worked with us since we kind of flagged the property as saying, hey, you're delinquent in your occupational tax. We actually had thought it was part of a different operation, and then as we've been doing kind of more boots on the ground enforcement with this, it came to consideration. We've been working on a list of reversions, and this is an area that we've looked at to say not that it needs to revert, but do we need to proactively rezone this to something that makes more sense? So I would say my recommendation would most likely be to go ahead and zone this to light industrial, not make it specific to this applicant, right, or this property owner. That would be very hard for us to track over time. But we can certainly take the feedback from the board that you may want to look at this entire kind of area here to make sure that the way it's operating on the ground is compatible with the zoning, and then bring back any kind of small area plans or zoning tweaks that would be appropriate.
Perfect, thank you.
Sure.
Madam Chair, I yield back.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Kenner Jones. Any other remarks, Board? I yield the floor back to you, Chairman
Thank you,
Simmons.
Madam Chairman. Before I ask for a motion, Mr. Carter, if you'd approach, please, I just need to get you to confirm that you're in agreement with these three conditions.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion. Do I have a motion on Z 2026-46?
This is Melissa Polk. I make a recommendation for approval with conditions mentioned for agenda item Z 2026-46.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving Z 2026-46 with the conditions, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Madam Chairman, Z 2026-46 comes to the board with a unanimous recommendation for approval.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve agenda item Z 2026-46 with the conditions as read in by staff.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries for the approval, and I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Mr. Cronin, best of luck to you, Mr. Carter. Mr. Cronin, next agenda item, please. I believe that's a rezoning and a special use permit.
Yes, sir. Our next agenda items are Z 2026-37 and S 2026-38. This is a rezoning and a special use permit request. The rezoning request is a request for rezoning from light industrial with conditions and residential agricultural to light industrial with no conditions, and a special use permit to expand a gravel parking lot at 0 and 4050 King Drive. The lot is 2 acres. This is in Commission District Number 2. The primary office for the business is located at 4085 Riverside Drive, and the existing site comprises 5 parcels of land for approximately 3 and some change acres. The subject properties have been cleared of debris previously, and also some vegetation and trees. The property is subject to an active violation. Well, the property is not subject to an active violation of the site. That has been cleared as of today. Code enforcement updated us right before this meeting. Apologies for that. The special use permit for the outdoor storage would be for an expansion of the existing outdoor storage use that has been operating for some time prior to the requirement for the outdoor storage, but an expansion would require review and approval from both boards. Access is proposed to be from the existing business at the south fronting on Highway 166 and Riverside Drive. Property to the south has existing outdoor storage as a non-conforming use. The lots proposed for the outdoor storage were originally platted as part of the Riverside Gardens subdivision and abut existing residentially zoned property. The lots are approximately 100 foot wide and a depth of approximately 400 feet for about 40,000 square feet, and relatively small use unless used as an assemblage. Additional scrutiny should be given as to mitigate off-site impacts given the limited width of the lots and the utility of the proposal. Staff believes the expansion is not anticipated by the events not anticipated by the comprehensive plan. Picture of the site aerial shows the existing operation at the south along Highway 166 and Riverside Drive. The site plan shows the expansion of the gravel parking lot with no access proposed from King Drive. Staff's recommending denial of the rezoning and special use permit requests based upon the following findings. Number one, the use would modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the comprehensive plan. Number two, the use would introduce a character development inconsistent with the established character of King Drive. Number three, the use would adversely affect public health, safety, and welfare. If the board is inclined to approve the request, staff recommends the following conditions. Number one, there shall be no access onto King Drive. Number two, a 50-foot incompatible use buffer shall be maintained undisturbed and replanted where currently disturbed, where abutting residentially zoned property and shall not be reduced. Number three, if site lighting is installed, it shall be directed away from off-site adjacent property with no spillover effect. Number four, the applicant shall install an 8-foot solid masonry wall where abutting residentially zoned property. Screening shall be opaque, maintained in good condition, and finished on both sides with brick masonry. And that concludes my presentation. We'd be happy to answer any questions you do have.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Croner. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, please approach the podium. You have 2 minutes per person for allocated time of 15 minutes. You'd state your name and address for the record, sir.
Yes, sir. My name is Russell Howard. I'm General Manager of Superior Cranes Incorporated. We have a crane business there at Fairburn Road and Riverside Drive. We bought this additional property about a year ago, wanting to expand our parking. And so in my opinion, you know, the body shop, and we removed stolen cars, junk tires. We probably moved almost 100 cars off the vehicle, probably 400 tires, drums of used oil. I mean, we cleaned the place up, and in my opinion, we made it better. I didn't think anybody would oppose to us improving, in my mind, improving the place. You know, so, and that's about it. We just, you know, we employ about 70 people there, create jobs, and we just need to, you know, expand our parking a little bit.
Okay. Anybody else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition, please approach the podium. State your name and address, and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Crystal Hauk. I live at 4018 King Drive. My mom has lived at the property that's directly next to the residential that they have bought for 47 years. She has lived down there in peace. She wanted to retire in that house, but unfortunately they have moved over half the trees down in the property directly next to us. I have an autistic son. He has a service dog. The noise has been unbearable for the mental stability of our house. My mom has always wanted to retire there, always. The noise is unbearable. Since they've cut the trees down, we have traffic noise. In the winter, the leaves are gone, so we have no privacy. They can see our property, we can see their property. So we have no privacy, we have no mental stability in our house. We can hear everything all hours of the night. Their website says they run 24 hours. Their business cards say they run 24 hours, and they do. They wake us up at 4 o'clock on a Sunday. They wake us up in the middle of the night with their dropping their counterweights, the vibration of the equipment. So we ask that you not let them move on top of us.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one else moving, I'll close the public hearing. Planning and zoning staff, do you have any questions of the planning and zoning staff or of the applicant?
This is Melissa Polk. I have a question of the applicant, please. Hi. So I just wanted you to speak to two things for me really quickly. One, in regard to hearing their concerns, right? And then knowing that the property that you currently have, your business that you're running and the things that you do at all hours of the night, clearly, is it something that cannot be functional any longer without expanding out the gravel? You understand what I'm saying? Like, can you still function in what you're doing in your business without doing what you're asking to do? And secondly, I want to talk about the code violations, meaning like, were you just not aware of those violations, and were those violations met knowing that you were coming here today?
So we clean, so there's one acre is zone light commercial, and the next acre is residential. So we had parked some stuff over on the light commercial side. Some guys have moved some stuff over there, and some was a little over on the residential side. We were asked to move that stuff. I was under the impression off the residential lot, and I left stuff on the light industrial lot, and then the code enforcement came back and said, no, you got to move it off both. So that was just I didn't quite understand what, I didn't know I needed to understand off the lot that was already zoned light commercial. We don't normally run 20, and that's to answer one question. To address the 24 hours a day, we are a vendor or a preferred vendor for Georgia Power and other utility companies around. If storms, somebody loses power, we can get a call in the middle of the night to go put poles up or go change the transformer out. It's not every night, and it's, we have to move in emergency sometimes. That's why our business card says, 23 and a half hours service. That means we're available to our customers on emergency calls. We don't work 24 hours a day there. It's usually a ghost town after 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, just like any other business. We'd lock up and leave there. There's a trucking company right next to us that I think they come in and out more than we do, and they have been since we've been there. I mean, they're literally right next door to us on King Drive. And that's it.
So just to kind of also expound on that part of the question of you asking for these two lots, to gravel, right, for parking and things. Can what you do on a daily basis, will it hinder your company or the services that you provide? Will it hinder that if that's not approved to you?
It will hinder us. We're running out of space. And so the two lots, I don't know if you can bring it back up on the screen there, but we're leaving a 50-foot barrier. We're only literally going to park on the lot closest to us there on the screen. I mean, by code, we have to leave 50, there's 50 foot of woods and trees that are still there next to their lot that we can't cut down anyway. So we didn't cut all the way up to their property line. By code, you have to leave 50 foot of trees and shrubs as a barrier. So it's already, it was already full of junk cars anyway that we can remove, so I don't know,
I yield. I have no further questions.
I have a question for the applicant. So I know where the cars were that's coming off Fairman Road. That was parked all there all the time. So you're not tearing that structure down Or-
No, sir.
So you're just gonna leave that structure there?
Yeah, we're
And-
just gonna, we store, like, we cleaned up around it, we're gonna store stuff in it. We're not gonna make any entrance on King Drive.
Okay.
We don't, that's not big enough for us to go in and out of over there. We're gonna close all that off and just, like I say, we're just gonna access our property over to that lot.
So on the backside?
On the backside, yes.
So that's where you're gonna try to put your parking?
Park trailers, if you see right next to us, the trucking company behind us there that exist already. We're just, like, he has trailers parked up around those lots also, so.
Okay. Yeah, I see the improvement from what it was before, because I used to drive that way. So the cars are not there, but I yield.
Any other questions, planning and zoning? Okay, before you sit down, Mr. Howard.
Yes, sir.
Should we go forward with this, do you agree with the 4 conditions that were read into the record?
That is building a privacy wall.
No access to King Road.
Yes,
50-foot incompatible use buffer shall be maintained
yes,
between the properties. That if you use site lighting, it'll be pointed away from the residential.
yes,
And the 4th one was you install an 8-foot solid masonry wall where the abutting residential zone property. Screening will be opaque, maintained in good condition, and finished on both sides with brick masonry.
If I need to build a brick wall, yes, that's what we'll do.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
You may have a seat. Pardon me. Allergic to something all of a sudden. Planning and zoning board, you've heard the discussion. Do I have a motion on Z 2026? Oh, I'm sorry.
You ready?
I'm sorry, commissioners. I'll throw it over to the
You
board.
got it, you got it.
My
Board of
sneezing
Commissioners.
got in the way.
Board of Commissioners, do we have are there any questions? I'm sorry. Any questions?
Not necessarily questions, Madam Chair, just a couple of comments. So I drive King Drive probably 3 to 4 times a week, so I will say thank you for cleaning up the intense amount of rubbish that was on that property. But I just want to make sure that my fellow commissioners who may not be as familiar with that area, it is a little bit deceiving from the aerial view because there is residential kind of up and down that road on both sides. There's some industrial or commercial uses that are also sprinkled down on that street. We've got the clock tower business that's over there. There's a HVAC business over there. I do think that it is an aggressive situation. I've seen what is cleared out so far, and if the rest were cleared out for gravel parking, it really will encroach on the residential and the people that live over there. So I understand the balance of business use with the residential, but I agree with planning and zoning's assessment that it's really not compatible in that area. So I would just ask that you take that into consideration on this agenda item. Madam Chair, I yield back.
Okay. Any other comments, board? Okay. I have a question for the applicant. I know we mentioned a cement wall or barrier. Have you even thought of you heard of a sound barrier, those sound barrier fences? Because I did hear some discussion about the inability to sleep well in loud noises. Or, have you ever considered sound barrier fence?
Yes, ma'am. I'm assuming the 8-foot brick wall, brick fence would probably act as a sound barrier to sort of cut down on the noise.
I think there's some type of fences that are designed specifically for noise barriers. I know you said a cut down, but we want to almost eradicate the noise. In my opinion, I'm just thinking along those lines. There are some fences out there that will muffle that noise to keep the noise down. Have you considered anything along those lines?
Yes, ma'am. I would consider, whatever we need to do. If I need to build a 10-foot metal, fence, that would be up to, I guess for the board or zoning to decide
Right.
of what's sufficient to make it work.
Okay, thank you. Allison, if you could come forward, have you considered has there been any discussion regarding noise barrier fences or anything of that sort?
Sure. So in regard to this, at the community information meeting, we did have a good conversation between the applicants and the adjacent neighbors, and I appreciate them coming together to talk through these concerns. So hearing the concern about the encroachment on residential, right, going back to what Austin shared, Riverside Gardens was actually platted back in the 1950s. It's one of the oldest subdivisions that we have in Douglas County. Now, I can't speak to exactly how some of these non-residential uses sort of encroached into this area. It's very similar to the last application where, the staff looks at this and we kind of scratch our head to sort of wonder how these things got established over time. But again, to just underscore, that was 1950, right? And if I did the math, I would realize that is, a generation back when this neighborhood got started, and then all of the transitions therein. That being said, we are trying to do our best to balance sort of the needs of both folks here, and so that's where we landed on the idea of a fence, right? And we are suggesting one of the most substantial fences that we could potentially ask for to mitigate those concerns between those two incompatible uses. In regard to a 10-foot tall metal, any of those kinds of things, I would say if it's the will of the board to move in that direction, I'm going to ask you to defer this to July and give us a minute to discuss that, because it starts to, if I understand kind of your question correctly, are you thinking of the sort of sound barrier between like an interstate highway and a neighborhood? Is that the kind of thing that you're proposing? Because if so, I wouldn't be prepared tonight to speak to whether or not I think that accomplishes, what we're trying to accomplish in the area while preserving the aesthetics of a residential neighborhood with some, commercial on the front. So I'd like more time to think through that if that's where the board is inclined to go with this application this evening. We're not opposed to it. I'm just not prepared to speak to it tonight.
Okay. Certainly, it's Commissioner Kenna Jones's district. I'm just throwing out some ideas, and certainly this fence is referred to as an acoustic fence. And certainly you can research it. It's out there. Just, I don't know if you need additional time to research it and see what that would do in terms of muffling the noise, and also speak to those who have utilized this particular type of fence to see if it really is something that works before even taking those steps to request this type of fence to be installed. So certainly I will yield to you, Commissioner Kenna Jones. Are you okay with it for her exploring something even further?
I think that would be so aesthetically unpleasing in a residential area. It would be an absolute non-starter. I don't know that I could in good conscience ask these people to live next to a highway caliber noise barrier in a residential area. And they know their neighbors. They're already dealing with, people have fences in their front yard. There's rubbish on that street. Like, I can't in good conscience add anything else to these folks.
Okay. And I think just to clarify, I think I was the one that put sort of that scale of something on the table. We're willing to explore options, right? Because I think my thought is very similar to what you're saying. If you're talking about that thing you put on the interstate,
oh no,
that is not what I would recommend in that area. But there may be other fencing materials that we just haven't looked at, and we're more than happy to explore, what could be the best solution to a potential fence between the uses.
Okay. I'm certainly on the side of Kenna Jones, Commissioner Kenna Jones. Sometimes I ask questions because it's definitely her district, okay?
Sure thing.
All right. I'll yield the floor back to you, Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion. Do I have a motion on Z 2026-37?
Commissioner,
Let's take these two items separately.
I'll make a motion for the first item, Z 2026-37, the rezoning. I'd like to make a motion to approve the rezoning of the property from light industrial and residential agriculture to light industrial.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving Z 2026-37, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? 3 to 4. Okay. Madam Chairman, Z 2026-37 comes to the board with a recommendation for approval.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to deny agenda item Z 2026-37.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of denial, please indicate by raising your right hand. All opposed? We have a 4-1 vote and the motion carries. Okay, for denial. I'll yield the floor back to you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, do I have a motion on S 2026-38?
This is Melissa Polk. I'd like to make a motion for S 2026-38 of denial.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Since the zoning was denied. All in favor of the motion to deny S 2026-38, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. S 2026-38 comes to the board with a recommendation for denial.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to deny agenda item S 2026-38.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of denial, please indicate by raising your right hand. All opposed? We have a 4-1 vote and the motion carries. Denial. So I yield the floor back to you, Chairman
Thank you very
Simmons.
much, Madam Chairman. Mr. Cronin, next agenda item, please. Cell phone tower?
Yes, sir. So our next agenda item is S 2026-39. This is a request for a special use permit to allow a telecommunications tower at 4371 Highway 92 and Highway 166. The lot is 10.72 acres. This is in Commission District Number 2. The subject tract is approximately 10.6 acres. It's currently wooded and undeveloped. It's located along the South Douglas Scenic Byway. The parcel is rectangular in shape with greater depth than width, and we'll see that better in an aerial forthcoming. The applicants propose a 195-foot monopole telecommunications tower. The tower will be set back approximately 1,000 feet from Highway 92. The UDC articulates a preference for telecommunications facilities located on property that are non-residential in character. The Unified Development Code limits towers in residentially zoned property to 100 feet in height. Douglas County has approximately 60 telecommunications towers. Coverage maps support the need for an additional tower in this area. The Federal Telecommunications Act precludes concerns for negative impacts from telecommunications facilities on public health. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office impact statement suggests that additional telecommunications coverage may be beneficial for emergency situations. The applicants have explored options for co-locations on existing towers within the county. They've also submitted line-of-sight studies as well to show visual impact from the tower. If approved as a 195-foot monopole structure, the tower would be similarly situated to other facilities in the county. You can see from the property it's more, this time it's a little further away from Highway 92, more depth than it is width. The applicants are proposing the tower approximately at least 1,000 feet away from the right-of-way of Highway 92. The applicants have submitted line-of-sight studies, and they can speak better to these line-of-sight studies and coverage maps as well. Staff is recommending approval of the special use permit based upon the following findings and then conditions. The findings, number one, the special use permit request is compatible with the comprehensive plan character area of traditional neighborhoods and the future land use map classification of suburban living. Number two, the special use permit will not modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the Unified Development Code. Number three, the special use permit request will not adversely impact the public health, safety, or welfare. The conditions are, number one, the tower shall be located a minimum of 1,000 feet from the right-of-way of Highway 92 and Highway 166, and shall abide by all other requirements of the Unified Development Code in regards to distances from adjacent residential uses. Number two, the tower shall not exceed 199 feet overall, including the monopole, antenna, lighting, lightning rod, and other appurtenances. Number three, the location and construction of the tower shall be in accordance with all other requirements of the Unified Development Code. Number four, a review by a radio frequency engineer that is acceptable to Douglas County shall be provided in accordance with Article 3, Section 343, subsection I, prior to the issuance of a building permit for the tower. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Cronin. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, please approach the podium. You have 2 minutes for a total allocated time of 15 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Carolyn Gould. I'm with ComSite with an address of 2538 Manor Walk in Decatur, Georgia, representing Gulfsite Towers and T-Mobile. And we are pleased to present this application to you that meets or exceeds all of your requirements in your ordinance. And it's a heavily wooded buffered area set way back from the right-of-way and will provide really critical communication services to your county. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all might have.
Okay, if you would just stand by, I'm sure we'll have some. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application, please approach the podium. If you'd state your name and address for the record, and then 2 minutes.
All right, my name's Gary Johnson, 4310 Highway 92. I approve this tower because we've always had spotty communication in the area where I live, to the point that a year and a half ago, we had a 911 situation where my daughter passed away. None of the first responders were able to communicate via cell signal near our house. They had to go up to the highways to be able to communicate. And the other reason is I have a pacemaker that relies on the internet, and if the power goes out, it relies on the cell signal for it to be monitored. Otherwise, I'm cut off. Majority of the people that live on my side of the road all the way down to Victory Church has a hard time communicating. Even the people that go to church there will tell you that the cell signals down there at the church parking lot, they can't communicate at all, hardly. They have to move around or go to another part of the parking lot and everything. It's just really dead down in that area. But those are the main reasons. If the first responders probably could have communicated better, my daughter would be alive today. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Name and address, and in 2 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Jarita Brotherton, and I live at 4457 Highway 92. I absolutely have no service, absolutely no service. I have to go to New Manchester High School to even speak with someone and communicate. I actually had a false alarm on my security system one night, and I was unaware that it was a false alarm. But I want to have a shout out to the great Douglas County Police Department, because they came to my door, and I didn't realize that I had a false alarm. But they came to my unbelievably didn't know that I had set off the alarm, but they sent them out anyway. I want to know point out that everyone tonight will probably use a cell tower, unbeknownst to them. They will reach out to their cell phone, and they will use that cell tower. No one wants to look at a cell tower. I get it, and I appreciate their point of view, but we use it all the time, every day, multiple times. But we need them, and just so you know that they are viable, and it is needed. This cell tower is very much needed in this area. The Victory Road and areas and all the roads up and down in the area have no service or very spotted service. So I am very much approved this cell tower. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application, please approach the podium. Okay, you have 2 minutes if you'd state your name and address, and then 2 minutes.
Mary Clark, 1984 Howell Mill Road, Atlanta.
I have a 2-acre parcel which is adjacent to the property where they want to, I'm sorry, I gotta get, where they want to put the cell tower. My property would be 100% negatively affected by this tower. If somebody had an option of building a home on a 2-acre parcel next to a cell tower or somewhere else, they're going to have a lot of choices of somewhere else. So I personally would be 100% negatively affected. I went to the property today. I wish I'd gone there on the weekend like I originally wanted to. The public notice sign was down, so I don't think that the public had sufficient notice. It was just flat on the ground. I have a picture of it if you want to see it. And it's right there flat on the, first of all, it's erected right there at ground level, rather small sign on Highway 92, and I don't know how many people could really see it anyway, but definitely if it's not up, they're not seeing it. I don't know anything much about cell towers. According to what the people said earlier and what I've read, the people immediately around the tower are not going to get a lot of benefit from it. It's going to be more, dispersed outward. So I don't really know how much benefit the immediate neighbors are going to have, especially the one neighborhood that would really get the most benefit would be the Anawiki Trails, Anawiki Falls, but they're going to be like almost right under the tower. So I just don't know. Biggest thing, this area, the county spent a lot of time designating this area as a scenic byway to attract tourism, to keep it clean and green and beautiful. And I was just shocked that the county would even consider.
Thank you very much. That's your 2 minutes.
It would violate their,
Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? If you would state your name and address and in 2 minutes.
My name is Jane Gallimore. I have land over there too, and I feel like that it's bad on your health, and there are a lot of houses over there too, and I think it would depreciate the land, and I don't think we need a tower. I know a lot of people use them cell phones. I use cell phones too, but I just recently got rid of my landline. And we've done without all this all our lives. So I don't really think we need the tower. That's mine.
Okay. Thank you very much. What? Oh, I need your address.
I don't live there.
I need your address.
I don't have it. I have it. It's on Highway 92 across the street from Victory Baptist Church. That's where I live.
Is that okay?
Did you understand me?
No, you don't have a street number?
No, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't. I've owned that property for over...
We're asking for your personal address.
My address?
Yes,
my home
ma'am.
address where I live?
Yes.
Can you speak to them?
Yes, that's what we're asking.
Thank you. Come back to the
Oh,
mic. Thank you.
I live at 6925 Margie Lane, Lithia Springs, Georgia. I lived there for 50 years almost.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any questions of the applicant or of staff?
This is Melissa Polk. I do have a question well, my question is, and just kind of tell me whom I should be asking, is that I just wanted to clarify the individual in the back here stated that they do not live at the property where the said tower is going to be. But the other opposing person, do I have the opportunity to ask for clarification if they actually live at that property, or is that just a property that they own as well?
No.
Right, so in regard to the information that was submitted for the application, this is the subject property. I believe that both people that spoke in opposition do not actually reside on the subject properties that are adjacent to it. To my knowledge, both of those properties are vacant. There are not residential structures on either of the properties that are adjacent to it. Does that answer your question?
It does, and so now it follows me to this question. So where the tower is said to be positioned or requested to be positioned, can you, again, just clarify for me, like the residential factor in that? Meaning, is it as obvious, right? Or is it as close to the residential homes as we have spoken in regard to previous things we've heard today?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that?
Sure. So, and again, I'll defer to the applicant. My understanding is that the specific lease area for the tower is about 1,000 feet back. So if you look at the aerial, or excuse me, the site plan there, kind of to the rear of where that little parcel cuts into the subject property, they're looking at trying to locate it about as center to that property as possible, right? So that it is set back a distance of 1,000 feet from 92-166. That was a consideration in regard to the scenic byway designation. Right, so again, this is a property that is located along a designated scenic byway, and our code specifically says you should avoid putting towers in that area. But this is where we point out that this property has greater depth than width, right? So they're able to locate it, 1,000 feet back, and then still have a significant buffer from the adjacent residential. So according to their line of sight studies, when they looked at potential view shed impacts from various viewpoints, and again, this is all in your staff report, you can kind of see that they have done that analysis showing what the impact of the tower is going to be in these images. There is no impact, from the tower. And I think part of that is what you're seeing is the benefit for how deeply it is set onto that property when you see sort of where they did their line of sight analysis there. So again, I think that this is a parcel when we start talking about the width to depth ratio of a parcel in terms of locating these improvements. This is one where I would concur. I do think that the visual impact would potentially be minimal on adjacent properties.
Understood, thank you. No further questions.
Any other questions, planning and zoning? I have a question, Ms. Poole. Ms. Poole, right? Cool. Should we approve this, there were 4 conditions read into the record. Are y'all in agreement with those conditions?
We are.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Chairman, I'll throw it to the Board of Commissioners for any questions you folks may have.
Board of Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Kenner Jones, you have the floor.
Again, not a comment or a question, but a comment. So my mama lives off of 92, and she is getting up in age. There is absolutely no cell phone signal at her house, and because the telecom companies have gone away from coax cable, she has relied on her home phone for the 2 decades that she has lived in this property, because if the Wi-Fi is out, her phone does not work since the coax cable is going away, and she's going to be stuck with voice over IP. There's, to the gentleman's point, and I'm sorry for your loss, but I can't imagine that if she could not get a call out to law enforcement or EMS because there is no cell phone signal. The location that they want to put it is very close to the house I used to live in off of 92, and there's also no cell phone signal there at all. There's no cell phone signal at the church in between about Boundary Waters until you get to the Accent Nursery. There's intermittent, your calls will drop, you can't hear anything. So I even if I still lived in that house, I would give up whatever visual appeal to make sure that people are safe. And so I just thank you for bringing this because it will definitely make a difference in District 2. Madam Chair, you'll back.
Okay. Any other remarks? Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
All right, thank you. So first, Mr. Johnson, I'm in prayer with you and your family, and sorry for the loss of life of your daughter there. So just want to make sure that you heard that from myself and from my heart. For the applicant, just a question in regards of coverage. How far west on 166 will coverage be provided with the installation, if approved, of this tower?
I think you should have maps that were provided. Can you pull it up? Could show it's a significant, it's hard to, because of the way it propagates, it's not like a perfect circle, but the maps can show you where it fills in.
So that's the,
White, yeah.
sorry, so the map in front of you is kind of our current coverage or lack thereof as has been identified. And then this would be what would be improved based on the tower.
Okay. I know 166 also has a lot of drop, a lot of spotty coverage as well. So I was wondering how far west would this also provide coverage going towards Chapel Hill on 166? So just trying to get an idea, because we do get a lot of complaints there, and a lot of issues of service not being available in that area as well. And I'm hoping that this would be an opportunity to have, service and coverage provided.
Does that address the area that you were of concern?
Not really, but I think it's getting in the right.
Closer.
It's getting closer. So again, I'm glad that we don't want to have any areas where there's not this type of coverage, especially when we're hearing loss of life.
Yeah, as Allison, Ms. Duncan had stated earlier, you all haven't had a new tower on your agenda for 5 years.
Yeah.
And there are different reasons for that, but I think as you can see, you're now a focus of the cell phone company. So this is for T-Mobile, but AT&T will be on there, Verizon will be on there. This is an area that they know is growing, and they're eager to provide you all coverage.
All right, well, that's great. And I guess my last question is, if approved, what is the timeline for installation and the service being up and available? What does that look like?
They still have it. They still need to order the tower and order the equipment, so it can take 6 months, 9 months, hopefully not a year. It just depends on what's going on in the country, but they will mobilize as quickly as they possibly can to get this built.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, any other questions, board? Question for the applicant. I believe you indicated earlier that the actual tower would be about 1,000 feet setback from
Yes.
the road. That's excellent versus 300 feet, so the 1,000 is quite a bit. And there are no houses in that particular area, correct? Or
Correct. There are neighborhoods, but we're at least, I think we're over 350 feet to our property line, and then there's an additional 100-foot buffer beyond that. So we're able to stay away from the residential, but be close enough to give them, provide coverage, and then stay out of the scenic corridor.
okay, I know exactly where the church that you alluded to earlier. Also, there's concerns, and maybe the bandwidth will not be as reach as far as I'm thinking along that Riverside Parkway area. Will it give them any more? Will it give them a boost? No boost. Okay. Okay. You may not even know where Riverside Parkway is.
Yeah, I do know where it is. I'm just not sure if it's going to be if it's going to be that far. So it's really, only a mile and a half or 2 miles to hand off to the other sites. But then, as you can see on the maps, the propagation, just the way it propagates, it will fill in additional areas.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I yield the floor back to you, Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion. Do I have a motion on S 2026-39?
This is Frank Payne. I recommend approval of S 2026-39, a request for a special use permit to allow a telecommunication tower located at 4371 Highway 92 and Highway 166, Douglasville, 30135.
Second.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving S 2026-39 with the conditions that were read into the record, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Madam Chairman, S 2026-39 comes to the board with a unanimous recommendation for approval.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve agenda item S 2026-39.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand for approval. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries for approval. And I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Best of luck to you, Ms. Cole. Next agenda item, S 2026-40. Mr. Cronin. Did our batteries die?
She just changed them.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, it should be working now. There we go. Okay, so item S2026-40, this is a request for a special use permit to entitle an already built 1,426 square foot accessory structure at 1346 McIntosh Road. The lot is 2.79 acres in Commission District Number 1. The property has a 1,629 square foot single family detached dwelling built in 1954 and a 720 square foot manufactured home installed in 1969, so relatively old structures. The 1,426 garage structure is built in 1998 without permits. Structure is already constructed. The property owners in the RLD zoning district can request an increase of up to 1,200 square foot administratively, where staff can handle it without them having to go before the boards, but anything additional would require approval before the boards. Entitlement of the structure would still require the property to meet all building codes, so any permits that the applicant would need, he would have to pull for the building at the building department for power and any other improvements he would like to make as well. The intensity of the use of the lot is not proposed to change as a result of the request. No exterior modifications are proposed. Here's a site aerial provided, and staff is recommending approval of the special use permit based upon the following findings. Number 1, the use will not modify the purpose, spirit, or intent of the Unified Development Code. Number 2, the use will not modify the purpose, spirit, or intent of the comprehensive plan. Number 3, the use will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare. And that concludes my presentation. We'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Cronin. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, including the applicant, please approach the podium. We have 2 minutes per person for a total allocated time of 15 minutes. If you'd state your name and address for the record, sir.
Good evening, Luis de la Rosa. And I purchased this property back in 2025 and has just found a bunch of issues after that. One of them is like all of these structures were built prior to the code. And I assume that because they were built prior to the Douglas County building code, I could just maintain them. I started replacing the roof on the building, and that's when I went to the city to request a permit for electricity, to add electricity to it. And they were very kind to me, letting me know that, hey, you know, the structure is bigger than what we require. You may want to apply for a special use permit. Right now, I don't have any intentions of expanding the structure. It's just to use it as a storage and add electricity for my hobby, which is robotics, and just use it to just do my man stuff basically inside. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Stand by. I'm sure we'll have a question or two. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? If you'd state your name and address for the record, and in 2 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Maximino Hilario. Address 1372 is my son Mauricio. He's translates for me.
So pretty much his concerns and just questions was about the property. So the property he owns is right under it, but we share the same driveway, but the driveway is part of our property. So he wanted to see, like, when it comes to that, like, if any concerns, because I guess before the previous owners, they had like an agreement. Like, what would y'all recommend when it comes to sharing one driveway? Because sometimes if there's car blockage and stuff like that, and then we have like the main water line also passing by, so we weren't sure if any bigger trucks were going to pass through and could damage, the water lines, because it's a small driveway. So I don't know, what would y'all recommend?
Okay. Thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing at this point in time. Planning and Zoning, do you have any questions of the applicant or of staff?
Mr. Brandon Penniman, for the applicant, if you come forward. To the applicant, first off, I would ask and request that you have a conversation with your neighbors and kind of mitigate that part.
Yes, as I stated at the beginning, when I purchased this property, I didn't know what I was getting into. And I tried reaching out to Alex, which is surprising. I didn't know he was my neighbor before a fly I had to China, that I wanted to talk to him. But the problem with this lot is that there's a narrow, I don't know if we can show the image, that shared driveway for both properties. And it's right there in the line, and they both share it. But there's no easement. There's also his power crosses from the center of my property, and there's also no easement. So I send them a text message via WhatsApp letting him know that, hey, we're gonna have to put an easement because it's right in the middle of the border. But I don't think, I have no problem giving them an easement. I don't think the structure that is there is any issue to them. It's just the fact that we don't have any easement for the driveway.
Okay, so my second question for you is, are you willing to mitigate that? And
Oh, yes.
come
No-
to good conclusions with
Yeah,
your
no
neighbors?
issues, yes.
Okay, perfect.
'Cause the only, the easement problem, I think is more for them than for me, because if you look at the entire frontage, I have access to, both streets to build an intern road, but they don't, because they're right in the borderline. So, yeah, I have no problem. I reached out to him, it's just that we never got a chance to talk.
That's good. That answers the question, because to a degree, it's kind of out of our purview, because we're here to really talk about the
Right.
structure.
Right.
So my only other part with the structure is, are you looking to do any, I know you said it's for your hobby only, but are you looking to do any commercial type business that would
No.
bring in any trucks or anything like that?
No, not at all.
Okay,
No.
great.
My
That
intentions
closes
are
my
just to use one side for storage and the other side for my robotics things that I just do. That's why I'll need electricity for it.
That's perfect. I yield.
You wouldn't be bringing any heavy trucks in?
Oh, no.
Nothing larger than
No,
a
no.
SUV, maybe?
Probably a pickup truck, but that's about it.
Okay, any other questions, Planning and Zoning Board? Hearing none, Madam Chairman, I'll throw it over to the Board of Commissioners. Any questions you folks might
Okay.
have?
We have Any questions for
Yeah,
Commissioner Mitchell? You have the
yes.
floor.
Yes, just one. More to staff, and I think you've answered some of the key questions. So staff, Allison. So with the shared driveway, and I know exactly what this is, with the shared driveway and the easement that I'm assuming they thought was a part of the whole process, how does that work? What needs to be done to assure, his neighbors that they will have access to their property? And I know we can't box anybody in, so you've got to have some form of easement. What's that process so, they can work that part of it out?
Sure, I think it would be a civil issue for them to address between the two property owners, right? So there is an argument to be made, depending on how long they've used that easement, that they may have a prescriptive easement or a
Correct.
right to continue using it. But that would be something that if they can't work it out, amongst each other, they would probably need to get legal counsel and sort out, how they move forward next. But it really would not be something that would be appropriate for our purview, here in this forum tonight.
And that's what I was trying to get to, though. Is there anything in our preview that we can kind of pull off to make that make sense?
So I'm going to look at our legal counsel, but my recommendation is going to be that we sort of steer clear of that, because again, what we're being asked to do is just give entitlement for an oversized accessory building, and that we just, encourage the property owners to work together to agree to what that formal easement would be. Should they agree to what the easement is, they can have it surveyed, bring it to our office, we can stamp it, record it, and do the appropriate, deeds to make sure that that is in the record. But I don't know, Mary, if you want to add anything above and beyond what I've shared about the easement. It's a civil issue.
She was like, no, I don't want to get into that. Yeah. Okay, well, and the only thing, and it's great to note that they appear to be great neighbors, but I would not want to be amongst the situation that could get unique and we didn't do anything about it. I just don't want us to be liable in the end. So the only thing we're worried about here is potentially the special land use permit based on the use of this building or shed or whatever we want to call it, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But I guess, again, and I know I'm asking the same question, there are no reassurance to reassure other than, you know, the applicant on record stating that he's more than willing to make sure they have access to their property. He's more than willing to give them the easement, and he's more than willing to.
Yeah, so again, I would not condition that to any sort of approval or
not.
anything,
And
you
I
know,
agree.
of that
Yeah,
nature.
yeah,
I would
yes.
just say that it's a civil issue. Again, if they have any questions, they can certainly come and meet with us, and we can talk to them through the process of, you know, getting the easement recorded and the deeds and things like that that would have to be done. But beyond that, we would say that this is sort of a private property issue that they would need to sort out amongst themselves. There's a lot of issues that would be involved in terms of how long they've used the easement, when it was created, you know, all of those types of things. So again, my recommendation is that the county just focuses on the ask in front of them, which is the oversized accessory building.
Right. Okay, thank you, Allison. And I guess I'll ask the applicant.
I think the easement is one of the issues.
Okay.
There's a bunch of issues with the property. There's a trailer that is registered that had service at the past, but now it can't get service, and now it's connected to the main structure. So there's a bunch of issues, and I'm just trying to tackle them one at a time. The main problem is that this was a bigger lot and was subdivided, and there was never any proper easement. I reach out to the electricity companies, and they don't even have an easement in record. And that's when, before I left to China, I reached out to Alexander, I think is his name, so to see if we could talk, but we never managed to talk. But yes, we have to have an easement.
Yes.
Because otherwise, his power is like, he won't have access to utilities.
And I'm with you. I know
yeah.
exactly where you are. I know,
Yeah.
I know it. And that's, and I guess I just wanted you to say that.
Oh, yes.
You know, that
I'll
you.
give him whatever easement he needs. It's just we didn't have any chance to communicate. Yeah, and I'm willing to say that in record.
Can I just step in here? Though I appreciate this demonstration of goodwill, I have the county attorney tugging on me saying we probably need to move away from this easement issue as not being germane to the actual ask at hand.
Okay.
Right? So we don't want to inadvertently kind of cross a line that becomes awkward going forward. So again, my recommendation at this point is that we just focus on the oversized accessory building, and we encourage the neighbors, you know, to just pursue whatever means is available to them through civil.
And Allison,
law.
and I think you're right, and I think I understand, but I've asked my questions, and I think I'm clear as to that statement, you know, not to say this is a part of the conditions or anything of that caliber. But it looks like legal want to kind of add
Yeah,
to
so
that.
fair enough. Like I said, I think I have
Yeah.
legal tugging on me
Understood,
saying,
yeah.
move in a different direction. But-
Yes, go right ahead.
Yes, and I understand. I would just want to clarify that it's getting really close. This is a private property right and ownership right.
Correct.
And I think even, you know, asking to agree or anything like that is this is a completely civil issue.
Right.
And it'd be more appropriate for them to do it amongst themselves. And I appreciate that they are talking about good faith and sounding like good neighbors. But for purposes of what we're here for today, it just wouldn't be a proper
Okay.
use.
Thank you. And at that point, Madam Chair, I'll yield back. Thank you.
Okay. Any other remarks, board, or questions? Okay, I'll yield the floor back to you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Simmons.
Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion. Do I have a motion on S 2026-40?
Mr. Brandon Penham, I make a motion to approve application S 2026-40, a special use permit request.
Frank Banks, second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving S 2026-40, special use permit for a 1,426 square foot accessory building, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Madam Chairman, S 2026-40 comes to the board with a unanimous recommendation for approval.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve item S 2026-40. And Allison, just one last question. I may have missed this, and I apologize. Were there any conditions or said findings or anything that needs to be a part of this particular approved motion? Just want to make sure that.
Sure. So the findings are in front of you that Austin read into the record, so we do have those in the record. We are not suggesting any additional conditions be
That is
imposed
correct.
on the property.
I just want to make sure I state that, so.
Yes, sir.
With that being said, that's my approval.
Thank you.
Request.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. For approval, I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you very much.
Chairman Simmons.
Best of luck to you, Mr. De La Rosa. Next agenda item, please, S 2026-43, Mr. Cronin.
Yes, sir. Agenda item S2026-43. This is a request for a special use permit to allow outdoor storage of landscaping material at 13221 and 13225 Veterans Memorial Highway. The lot is 2.3 acres. This is in Commission District Number 4. Subject site has 2 warehouse-oriented buildings sited and 2 driveways. The applicant's proposing outdoor storage and landscape supply materials. No modifications to the existing site are proposed, just the outdoor storage. Adequate screening of the outdoor storage is necessary to distinguish the outdoor storage area from any outdoor display area as defined in Article 3, Section 304. You can see from the site aerial there are 2 buildings and 2 driveways currently constructed. Staff's recommending approval with condition of the special use permit based upon the following findings. Number 1, the use will not modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the Unified Development Code. Number 2, the use will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare. The condition is as follows. Number 1, an opaque imitation wood, vinyl, polymer, or composite-based material fence shall be used to screen the limits of the outdoor storage. A landscaping plan shall be submitted to the Douglas County Arborist and shall include a 25-foot landscape strip adjacent to Veterans Memorial Highway with a minimum of 3 canopy trees, 3 understory trees, 2 evergreen trees, and 18 shrubs every 100 feet of linear strip. Sufficiency of screening and consideration for existing conditions on the site shall be at the discretion of the Douglas County Arborist. In the event that the trees specified here are anticipated to obstruct power lines, additional shrubs are to be provided as a substitution. Sufficiency of substitution is subject to the discretion of the Douglas County Arborist. That concludes my report. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Cronin. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, please approach the podium. You have 2 minutes per person for an allocated time of 15 minutes.
There.
Name and address.
Noah Shook and 3200 Shady Grove Road, Carrollton. I'm all for it. It's a property of ours. Our goal is for a landscape supply store to sell rocks. And that's about it.
Okay. Are you in agreement with the condition?
It's his property, that's why I'm checking, but yeah, I guess so.
Yep. And if you run into anything, I believe at the bottom line is substitution, and the Douglas County Arborist will look into that if you need to. Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? No one moving. I'll close the public hearing. Open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any questions of Mr. Shook or staff? Madam Chairman, I'll throw it to the Board of Commissioners for any questions you folks may have.
Board of Commissioners, we have any questions?
Just one. Just quick.
Vice Chair, you have the floor.
Is this the same landscaping company supply? There's already one on Veterans Memorial, correct?
So this is a company that currently, Austin can help me remember exactly what that they have been approved to do, but when this first came to us, it was not necessarily for a landscape supply company. They were going to do indoor storage of various items, and then I think over time, they have come and said, well, we want to get more into the landscape supply business, which would require the outdoor storage of that. So I'm not sure if they currently have outdoor storage. Is that the question that you're?
Yeah, I just remember there's a landscape company that's there on Veterans Memorial Highway in that area. I was just curious if it was the same one, but if it's not, it doesn't matter. Just make the front of the building look nice.
Yeah,
fix up that area.
So to that end, we have had several of these applications coming through recently, to get the entitlement for the outdoor storage. And if you do go down that area and look, you will see that, the fencing and the landscaping that you have required is being installed. We are hoping that it does elevate the curb appeal of that area somewhat. And so we appreciate these applicants continuing to work with us to, not only, grow their business, but also kind of work with what we're trying to accomplish aesthetically on veterans. So,
Sure. I yield back, Madam Chair.
thank you.
Any other questions or remarks, board? I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, do I have a motion on S 2026-43?
This is Melissa Polk. I make a motion to approve with the conditions listed for agenda item S 2026-43 for special use permit to allow outdoor storage for landscaping materials.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving S 2026-43 with the condition read into the record, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Madam Chairman, S 2026-43 comes to the board with a unanimous recommendation for approval with the condition.
All right, thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve S 2026-43 with all the conditions read in by staff.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of approval, please indicate by raising right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries for approval. I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much. Good luck, Mr. Shook. Next agenda item, please.
Okay, I think this is the last item we have tonight, S 2026-45. This is a special use permit for B9 Douglas Hill Road Owner LLC. This is purely an administrative cleanup, if you will. All right, so this is a request for special use permit to bring the property into compliance for an already constructed building that exceeds 50,000 square foot. So this is in Commission District Number 2. And basically, this is a campus of buildings that includes approximately 970,000 square feet of warehouse and distribution space. This campus was constructed prior to the requirement for a special use permit for buildings that exceed 50,000 square feet. So that being said, got an interesting question from these folks a couple months ago. They said, well, what happens if there is damage or destruction to our building? Would we then need to come back and get a special use permit? My feedback was, if I'm the person making the decision, no, this was something that would have been approved prior to that. But if it's somebody, 10, 20 years down the road, I can't speak to what decision will be made then. So again, this is purely the applicant coming forward seeking the entitlement for the building so that there is no question down the road that in the event of any damage or destruction to the building, that they do comply with all requirements of our code. So again, staff has no concerns with the request. Here is aerial imagery of the subject property that we are looking at, and we are recommending approval of the special use permit based on the findings that number 1, the special use permit request is compatible with the comprehensive plan character area of Thornton South and the future land use map classification of Commerce Center. Number 2, the special use permit will not modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the Unified Development Code. And number 3, the special use permit will not adversely impact public health, safety, or welfare. And that concludes our presentation, and happy to take any questions at the appropriate time.
Thank you very much. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, please approach the podium. If you'd state your name and address for the record, in 2 minutes.
Yes, sir. Jordan Edwards, 4062 Peachtree Road in Atlanta. Speaking for the property owner tonight. Ms. Duncan's presentation is pretty comprehensive here. These buildings, some of you may remember this, actually came before y'all for zoning in 2022. It was approved, went to the LI district. Building permits were applied for and issued by the county. Development commenced there right after, and then soon after that, a text amendment to the UDO was adopted that created that 50,000 square foot SUP requirement. So the buildings, we reached out to Ms. Duncan's team, and she in turn reached out to the county's legal team, and so everyone's decided, yes, these are legal non-conforming uses. Typically, that's fine. Uses can continue that way. In our case, we need to renew an insurance policy. And so the insurance company is saying, well, it needs to be legal conforming, and so that's why we're here. So it's very boring. But that's the entire ball game. We're not looking to do anything different with the property, use it any differently. These are good Class A industrial properties. If you're going to have industrial development, this is the kind that you want in the county. So that's it. Happy to answer any questions that y'all got.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Edwards. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any questions of Mr. Edwards or of staff? Hearing none, Madam Chairman, I'll throw it to the board for any questions you folks may have.
Do we have any questions, board? Any questions? Okay, I yield the floor back to you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, do I have a motion on S 2026-45?
This is Melissa Polk. I make a motion of approval for agenda item S 2026-45, a request for a special use permit to bring the property into compliance.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving S 2026-45, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's unanimous, Madam Chairman. S 2026-45 comes to the board with a unanimous recommendation for approval.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve agenda item S 2026-45.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries for approval. And I yield back the floor to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Having nothing else to come before Planning and Zoning Board, I declare our meeting adjourned.
All right. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of adjourning, please indicate by raising your right hand. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned, and the motion carries. I'm sorry.